me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. Without you, driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just too. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just too. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. Give it to me like world without you. Me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live without you.
Right, good afternoon, people. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone's had a good day. Nice and sunny out there. I won't deny it. I'm sitting here sweating like a pig all day. But there we go. I am a Spurs supporter. So, what is actually changing at this club? What have we actually seen change? Have the friendlies shown us anything? For me, it just looks like it's going to be the same problems with the same issues that we had last season. Who knows? Maybe in his first game, we might actually see that he decides to change a few things and he's going to try it from there. But surely that's where you do it from the friendlies, isn't it? I mean, I just haven't seen the man do anything to change. And signings, Solanke, fine. All right. I don't think it's a bad one. I don't think it's a great one. 65 million. I think we definitely got caught with our pants down there. But we are Tottenham and love to get that done to us, don't we? So I think he can do us a favour up front. We needed a striker. It's what we've gone and got. But apart from him, I just see no actual changes in the system. No actual changes in the style. He hasn't messed about with the inverted wing backs. He still hasn't both going forward. We've still got both centre backs sitting on the halfway line. We've still got our number 10 so compact in the middle that he can't move and he can't bloody breathe and he can't pass the ball. So really, what is going to change here? What is going to change next season? Maybe I should have a bit more faith in him. But, I mean, come on, Ange, do me a favour. Give me something to have some fucking faith in, will ya? And the man just isn't doing it at the moment. Not for me, anyway. Whereas I know others will disagree with it. But here and there, we shall see. Only time will tell, I suppose. So, just to say a quick hello to everyone before I bring some guests on. Eugene, hi everyone. Big up. How you doing, mate? Hope everything's good for you. And as he says again here, nothing has changed. Renegade, evening mush. Yeah, Chav, how you doing, boy? That's if I've got the right idea where you're from those words, mate. But it definitely comes from the language that not I know of when you use mush. Anyone who knows what I just said there will understand what I'm getting at. But anyway, Tom, hope all's good for you, mate. Big up Dan in the chat. And Jazz, big up to all. Sava, how we doing, mate? Hope all's good for you. Don't be so negative, Dan. We're buying back KWP. Carl Wolf Peters. We might as well just stick with bloody Spencer if we're going to do that one. I mean, what would be the actual point in it? But again, we shall see. We never learn. Hope you're having a good day. Just let it play out the season. Going to be fun. We become the new Arsenal fan TV. Do we become the new Arsenal fan TV, or have we already done it? I suppose that's a question on its own, isn't it? And what's he saying here? And let it be. Let the shit hit the fan. Learn nothing. Keep flattering in 5th and 6th. I need to see what happens after Ange. I need to see this breaking point again. So what do you mean by that, mate? Do you mean that you actually want to see us fall to pieces again and where we take it from there? I don't know. Put your point in a bit again. Give me a bit more detail there. I mean, because, well, when Ange goes, and I do say when, because I do think he's going to be gone by Christmas. Yeah, the shit's going to hit the fan again. And Tony, big up to you, mate. Big up Dan, panel, and all the chat. Always good to see you on here, mate. Always blunt and blatant. And Scott, big up to you too, mate. And big up to you, Dan, and any of the guests who might be there. Just going to go for a few more. And Anti Clark AFC, big up, Dan. Not looking good at the moment for you boys. Yeah. COYG. You know where you can stick that last bit, but the rest of it, mate, you're spot on. So, and we never learn. You're never going to see a change unless it gets bad. Bring it on, I say. And then last one to go through here quickly is Donna Cullen. Nice to see you on here. Wagwan, Mr. Daniel, Mr. Stelios, Mr. Sava, Mr. Tony Rodriguez, and I'm sure she also means to everyone else. With Jazz saying, need Megan Gibbs with Sava Connor in the market on hyphens. Okay. If that's what you think, mate, fair enough. And Sammy, big up to you too, mate. Ryan, big up to you. And Tony, smash that like and subscribe. Thanks, mate. And Stefan, come on, Dan, things have changed. They have actually got worse. Well, that's definitely not a bloody good one then, is it? So I'm going to come back to a few people on the side here, and I'm going to say hello to my two guests. At the moment, Adrian, Stel, how you two both doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Same Spurs, different day?
Sorry?
Same Spurs, different day?
Yeah, I mean, like, we've got a player in. We needed a number 9. He's not overwhelming or underwhelming, is he? I mean, but he's what Ange wanted, isn't he? Because you don't pay 65 million for Solanke when you could have got Tony for 40, 45, Jimenez probably for 40, and Jonathan David for 25. So it's definitely an Ange signing. So Ange has to take it on the chin if it doesn't work out, doesn't he? You know?
Well, and Stel, how are we doing? Same Spurs, different day as well?
Yeah, hello everyone. Big up Adrian and Dan. Hello everyone in the chat. I'm just having some breakfast here. It's 9:30 in the morning, so
God, you look shattered, mate.
Yeah, we had a big party last night. So
I was going to say, what's that? Big drink last night, because it definitely looks it. The eyes show.
You can always tell by the size of the water you're drinking. So
well, I've had my beer in the freezer before I joined here, so I'll have my beer now, since it's only 20 to 6 here.
Oh my lord. Yeah, all good. All good, Dan. All good, Adrian.
Right, it's just saying hello to a couple more people on the side. Finn, big up Dan, big up to you, and Andy Lloyd. Whilst we continue to zonal mark, we will get battered on the set pieces. Mate, you're 100% right. I've been saying this since about our 15th game. The manager's even been told this crap. Well, I say crap. The manager's even been told this, and he basically blew it over his shoulder. And to me, I thought he'd actually changed it on like the 36th game. People told me, shut up, he's done it, be happy with it. No, if he's a good bloody manager, he should have seen that a while back. then we see the friendlies again, and for me, it's been zonal marking again. So since he's mentioned this one, I'll go to you two first, whoever wants to start it. Do you think he's going to change this zonal marking totally, or is it just for the friendlies he's kept it and going to change it for the games, or do you think the man's actually learned his lesson? Because this zonal marking is one that pisses me right off.
Well, he's got 5 coaches to sort it out, hasn't he? You've got Matty Wells, who's been promoted to #1 coach now. Mate, he's gone to Birmingham. Then you've got Ryan Mason and Milo Jedinak, and we've brought in Nick Montgomery and Serge Raimundo, who were with Mariners in Australia. They won out there with that team, and then we're with Hibs and the Scottish under-21s. So when people talk to me about get set piece coaches in, well, Stell's a coach. I'm sure he doesn't need telling how to work out a set piece, or defend. So I don't get that when fans come at that. I think a lot of times fans are desperate when they see things wrong and they can't see solutions. But so the zonal marking, well, the marking has to improve, doesn't it? Because we didn't concede a goal from a set piece up until Christmas last year, and then we conceded 14 from then onwards. So something has to change. They have to get, they have to man mark, I think, at set pieces would help.
I agree with pretty much most of what you said there, Stel.
I personally think Ange is I think he's absolutely clueless as a coach when it comes to defending. I think he hasn't got a clue what he's doing. And I mean this. I get what he's trying to do. I'm not against what he's trying to do. I don't think he's hired or signed the kind of players that can do what he wants, which is why it's all going to unravel for me, personally speaking. But in terms of defending, and I'm only talking about defending, I just feel his philosophy is defending equals possession. So as long as we keep the ball, they can't score, and that's our best form of defense. I think he's from that school of thought, which is what Pep Guardiola does as well. The issue is when you lose possession, what do you do? How are you positioned? And we are so frighteningly exposed when we lose possession high up. The wing backs are so high up, we get battered. And for set pieces, he hires the coaches. This is his coaching team. Like, he chose to keep Ryan Mason. He chose to bring in Jedinak. He chose to bring in the guy from Hibs. This is his team. They're clueless, Dan. In fact, hold on. Can I? Yeah, Dan, share this.
Mm-hmm.
Share this. All right.
Okay.
Share this. Okay. Let me show you something here, right? So, can you remove? That's it. So, when we set up to zonal mark, that straight line is a zonal line. So he's got all the players lined up on that line. So what they're effectively doing is marking quadrants in the box. So just think of it as they're marking grass instead of players. Anyone that comes into my patch of grass, I'll deal with. The issue you've got with this is no player can prepare for which player they're going to mark in the match. You don't know who you're going to mark until the last second, which is not good. It's like throwing a ball at you, but you don't know if I'm going to throw a football, a golf ball, a cricket ball, a rugby. You need to know these things to help you best catch it, right? So what happens is we set up like this, and then the opposition, because they know they're not going to be marked, they overload one area. So this is effectively what happens. They overload one part of the zonal line. So now you've got, who's that? Spence, some other players. In fact, Dragusin's there. You got 4 against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the back post.
Is that for the Muller goal? Is this for the Muller goal?
It was the 3rd goal, yeah.
Yeah, the Muller goal, yeah.
So what you've done now is the zonal line allows the opposition to create an overload. And in football, you always want overloads if you want to score goals. You want to outnumber the opposition in terms of playing numbers. So it allows them to create the overload. And what happens is, as soon as the ball comes in, those players then disperse. And our players, where do I go? Who do I mark? Oh my God, I've got 2 because you're overloaded. And it allows this to happen. Those two players, the back post, waiting to score. The reason that's happening is because we are marking on a zonal line that allows an overload. That's what's happening, Dan. Now, just so people can understand, I was taught this stuff on my level 2 coaching badge. Then there's level 3, then there's UEFA. Once you've done your UEFA badge, you're not brilliant, but you're classed as you've got some credibility. It's like saying I do martial arts. What belt are you? Black belt. Oh, you're black belt. Okay. You know, there's a bit of respect there because you've said black belt. UEFA is like black belt. I learned what I just showed you when I was doing my red belt. How Ange can't see that, can't look at the same screenshots I've seen, how his coaching team can't see that and say, this is a big problem. This is why we conceded 2 goals to Arsenal in a North London derby that we so easily could have won on the day, but we gave it to them. If he doesn't sort this out, Dan, if he doesn't sort this out, he's not going to last at this club this season. I don't see it. And this is on Ange because he oversees this. It's his coaching team. He should be able to spot that and say, guys, this doesn't work. At the same time, the experienced players in the club should be able to turn around to the coaching team and say, this isn't working for us. You need to change this. Top players like Maldini, Baresi, Ledley Kings, John Terry's, Tony Adams, they had that in them to have that conversation with the management team. Clearly, it's not happening at Spurs. So I look at that, Dan, because you asked about set pieces. I think Ange is clueless because he hasn't changed it. And if we think he's going to change it against Leicester, when are you going to practice it? When are you going to prepare for that? Because you've got all pre-season to practice it.
That's what the friendlies are for, isn't it?
Correct.
And this is one thing he does that really, really bugs me. And I agree with what you said there. If he does not pull his finger out his arse and get his act together when it comes to especially that zonal marking, if he would have changed that after, let's say, even 20 games, he would have said, all right, it ain't working. I've changed that. I still reckon there's about 3 games out of what we lost or even got a draw of, at least 3, we could have actually won on because we conceded quite a few goals through the zonal marking on the set pieces when they sussed us out. And then the other point I'll get to in a minute is also with our goalkeeper, who I think we got an excellent goalkeeper, but he does have his points where he's a bit of a liability. Not just, how do I put it? Maybe liability is a bit harsh, but
he doesn't command the box, Dan. He doesn't show that authoritative leadership that you need from a goalie once in a while.
Lloris was on the pitch until it's in the box.
I'm talking about set pieces.
To do it.
I'm talking about set pieces only. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, with Vicario, beginning of the season, Brentford game, and all that. When he's throwing the ball to the halfway line, right? Did you notice that, unlike Lloris, his distribution was quick? Now it's slowed down. It's slowed down in the box, right? He's not getting rid of the ball quick enough. He's trying to think too much. And if in doubt, a lot of these balls he's throwing out or delivering out, he's putting defenders under pressure in poor positions. Now, I know Ange don't like to give the ball away, but he should hoof it. The other thing, that clip you showed, Del, what I noticed during the game was when the ball come in, you've got, look, he's done all right in the pre-seasons, but he's not the finished article. And you've got Jed Spence down in the left centre-back's position. If you take that clip on further, you see Decky's got worried. He's come down. He's at left back, right? He shouldn't be there. And Spence should be further to the left. He shouldn't be where he is in the box. Because like you said, you've got them all in the line. Then you've got 2 covering the front of the near post area and marking no one. And like you say, and then you've got the overload behind him. But he's
doing as he's told, Adrian.
Players should take some responsibility here because
I agree.
You're either a dumbass player and you shouldn't be in the fucking team, right? Because there's no excuse for that. This is schoolboy stuff, right? I played at fullback. I was always looking over my shoulder. I was crap, right? But I was always looking over my shoulder. I could tackle and I could run. That was about it. No skill whatsoever, right? But no, it's true. But I mean, like here, this is. I get exasperated with a lot of things I've seen when Spurs teams, even when we're playing well. I get exasperated when I see basic errors. It's annoying because I've seen decades of it. Right? I see it from other teams as well, but But you think, well, okay, these guys are coached. Them coaches aren't mugs. They've all got their badges. They know all the different systems and styles, you know. And so like this shouldn't happen in a back four. This because they should have been more spread. They could have man-marked there and still have a player left over there because there was at least 6 Spurs defenders there. And Decky's at left back. You can't see him in the picture, or he comes into left back as well in case the ball's hit long or whatever. But that's where Spence should be anyway. Spence should be further left. And on the subject of Spence being further left, if you noticed in the 2 Bayern games, what I picked up on, every time Bayern were free to hit a ball, an angled ball, out to Gnabry on their right, our left, because we had no one there to close them down quickly. And Spence looks good going forward, but defensively, what I've seen lately is crap.
100%.
Yeah, but right. So Adrian, the 2 things here with the set pieces, they are doing what they're told. Like those images I showed you, that is training ground routine stuff. I can tell they're doing what they're told. This is what I'm saying. That is on the coaches. With regards to Spence, I just feel the positioning of our wing backs, whoever we play, will always get caught out or put in situations where they're going to struggle because of the way we invert. So I have some sympathy with them. Where I agree with you, Adrian, is where you say if our players are thick as shit and all that. You're right. If they're intelligent, they'd speak to the manager and they speak to the coach and say, you need to adapt this a bit. Or this, we can't do this. It's costing us. It doesn't work. If they're smart players and they've got a little bit of something about them, that's the conversation they should have. But what we're seeing is the same errors every single game.
But the
over the top, down the wings, set piece, set. Yeah. It's the same goals. Yeah, we can see the exact same goals every game, basically.
Irrespective of that, the goalkeeper should be marshalling the defence now. He should be saying like, get back further. Someone mark so-and-so and all this. Players should know it anyway.
And just telling them, push up.
Yeah. I'm talking about on the pitch, positional play, intelligent awareness, football IQ is what, when I see a lack of it, I get exasperated with it, right? Now, that defensive there, I mean, that was just shambolic defending, right? We can agree. So you look at the throw out, couple of throw outs Vicario's done, which have led to goals against 2 games against Bayern, right? And, and so he hasn't. I'm glad this has only been in pre-season because I'd rather these things happen now than in league games. I hope they don't, But we wait and see on that, don't we? But I mean, like at the back, it's like, and the other thing is, you're right as well. When we talk about defence, it's not just that. A midfield last year and a forward line were pants for the most part of last season. They weren't defending as a unit. Basuma was strolling back like he's out on a Sunday walk when he's losing possession. Where's the players busting a gut to recover, right? This is why Basuma and Maddison are getting a lot of criticism now. It's not because they're not talented players. They are. But they got to give us more. Basuma's got to give us more. He started brightly yesterday. He had his Madders, but Madders took a whack in the head and went off. I think it'd have took him off half-time anyway, just to give someone a run out. But he's shown glimpses of what he could do at his best in the first games last season, but he's got to do more. Otherwise, come January, they'll keep him. They'll keep these players. But come January in the season, these players are going to be on their bike. Ange won't put up with them. I don't think he'll put up with them.
Keeping it on the defensive side for a second, before we cut down the rest. I think you're both, 100% right on what you both say here. It is the manager, but it is also the players. The players are doing what the manager tells them to do. Otherwise, they get an earful off the manager, don't they? But then, like you're saying as well, some of this defending, for me, I know people on the side like to say, well, you're not a manager, you're not this, so what the fuck?
You don't need to be to see this, mate. You don't need to be a manager, Dan, to see what's going on.
Same as I could tell the person on the side, well, you're not a manager either, so you can't tell me shit either. It's irrelevant. If I'm irrelevant, then they're irrelevant. But either way. But some of this is common sense to the point that my wife has only just learnt about football over the past year, really. And she can spot most of the crap that's going on. Like, why are they defending like this? Why aren't they doing this? Isn't he marking that man and asking me the questions? And I can't even answer it. I'm like, I don't know. Now, my biggest point on the defence side with a player... Go on, still.
No, all I was going to say is, if we just stop zonal marking and go to man-to-man marking, half the goals we concede from set pieces go away. Half of them will go away. Then it's how good we are at man marking. If he just does that, which is the easiest thing to do, but they don't. There's a reason they're doing this, and there's no sense to it.
The other thing that pissed me off most with it, and this is down to the manager, but I actually blame the players more for the one I'm going to say here. Vicario, one thing we definitely noticed with him is he's definitely not the most physical person. He's got the gift of the mouth, but when it comes to the physical person, I really don't think he's got it. And we all know in England and pretty much any other league that a goalkeeper can get away with significantly more than a defender or anyone else on that pitch when it comes to a physical side. And especially that game against Arsenal that we had, where I think it was Ben White kept walking up to him and pinching him on the arse. And the way Vicario sort of only didn't even push him away, just sort of give him a little hand away, basically. That's like when you've been out for a good meal with your missus all night and you know you're going home to score and you give her a pinch on the arse and she gives you that little, go away. That's exactly how he done it. No aggression in it, no get out my face, no like do one. He just sort of tried fluffing him away sort of thing. So what did Ben White do? Keep touching him up basically. But the fact that none of the players intervened until significantly later, I also blame that one on the players, not just the manager. Because even if the manager hasn't told them to do it, surely common sense out of not even just a defender, but a midfielder, a striker, whatever. You can see that your goalkeeper's getting hassled and that you know he ain't too great at handle that. Wouldn't any normal defender, player, striker, anyone on that pitch go and back their goalkeeper up, get stuck in the middle? And how long did it even take the players to go and do that? Are they going to do that for this season? Will they keep doing it as Ange told them, or is it that they've noticed it? That was another thing that really got on my nerves, along with the zonal marking last season.
You know, it's like, okay, Vicario, he started to show a bit more aggression in the last couple of games of last season. We had this discussion before, Dan, and when all the fans were giving it to, and we know why, they were giving the season's player to VDV or Romero last year and all that. And I get why, because they're positions. But VDV was out injured, Romero was suspended, Vicario played every game, and I'd have given him our man of the season. I gave him he was my man of the season last year, because the goals he saved and the points he got us, we'd never finish fifth without him. Right, so he got it. All right, there's been errors, which is good that they've been exposed now. He needs to sort it out and needs to distribute the ball quicker. And if that means kicking it and Ange don't like you to kick it because he wants to keep possession, then you kick it rather than give the ball to a defender in a dangerous position where you're giving them too much to do. You know,
that's that one, Adrian. I agree 100% on what you're saying. I mean, this is where I think you go back to old school schoolboy tactics, even of when in doubt, kick it out. But we don't. We take more chances in front of our own bloody goal because the manager tells us to do that than we do up the other end of the pitch. I've said this 100 times. Up the other end of the pitch, we won't make a pass unless it's 75% proof. Whereas in front of goal, we'll take a chance where it's only 30%.
We know why
they do it. The manager. That's the manager.
Because it's possession-based football, we know why they do it. Because if you lump it, it becomes 50-50. Do you win the ball or do the opposition win it? If you keep possession, you keep the ball, don't you? You don't want to get in the habit of doing that. But there are times when you should lump it, in my opinion, you know?
I agree. I mean, what do you two think on that? I mean, James, you've just come on. So what do you think on what you've heard us say so far on that, about the bit with Vicario, the zonal marking, and also basically my point that we take more risks in front of our own bloody goal? I mean, to me, I put most of that on the manager and one or two things on the players.
So you're probably asking the wrong person about Vicario. I think he's fantastic.
He's a great keeper.
I've got a bit of a soft spot for him, to be honest. But with you know, being bullied and stuff, I do put that down to our centre backs not being physically able. The only person that would do that is somebody like Romero. You see every time if it's a different game, they'll have a centre back or a right back that gets in between them and breaks it up. But yet we don't have that. So I don't know if that's just because we don't physically have the right players or they're just told not to. I don't know. I mean, that goal against Bayern Munich yesterday, I think it was Stel's post that I saw. There's 4 or 5 of them at the back versus 2 defenders. It doesn't matter what you do. You put one on the goalkeeper. It doesn't matter what you do. It just doesn't make sense. And we've taken more risks at the back, is because our better footballers are at the back, in my opinion. The likes of Porro, Romero, Udogie versus Brennan Johnson, Timo Werner's. The better footballers are at the back of the pitch.
But wouldn't you have thought one of the players would have sussed it out? I mean, well, even the manager should have been telling them after 2 games that he noticed it was happened. But if he's not, it doesn't just take a defender to do that. This is what I'm saying. Because basically most of the team comes back for a free kick or a corner, doesn't it? You would have thought that any one player that has got half a clue would see what's happening to his goalkeeper. And he hasn't got to be the most physical one. As all he's got to do is stand in the middle.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is obviously the team ain't doing what he asks him to do. And by that, I mean, when you actually watch him on the sidelines, look, yesterday, he was fuming. Ange was fuming the whole game. So whether he's asking them to do something that they can't do, or it's the wrong thing, or they don't believe it's the right thing, either way, he obviously ain't happy with something. So,
James, do you know what it is, right? This playing out from the back. Again, I can see what he's trying to do, how to beat a 1-man press, 2-man, 3-man, all-man press. I understand it. I've been to Hotspur Way and they've shown me what they're doing. The issue is this. We don't have the quality of player to pull this off week in, week out. We don't. We simply don't. And this is when we get caught out. But one thing we should be doing, regardless of quality of player, and we've done it this season. I remember at Old Trafford, we did it brilliantly when we got the 2-2 draw. And actually, I think Adrian said it at the start of the show. The speed that we move the ball out at the back is way too slow. When teams press you, one of the things you've got to do to beat a press is to be quicker than them. So if someone's running at you 50 miles an hour, pass the ball at 60 miles an hour. Don't let the press get you. But we're not moving the ball quick enough. It's very slow. Shall I go left? Shall I go right? Shall I go there? Let me just wait a bit. And even when the goalie does pass the ball out, sometimes they dilly-dally on the ball too long. When Spurs move it, 1-2 touch football, we actually look quite good. I actually think Spurs are like a really good passing team out from the back when we do it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it's like we switch on this light that says, go quick. All right, turn the light off. Let's go slow again. No, if you watch City, it's quick. It's always quick. City don't hesitate. We just seem to just slow down. I don't know whether it's down to technical inabilities.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, I think for me, it's Basuma and Sarr. And I know Sarr's loved, but technically for me, he's not very good. And the reason I'm saying Basuma is yesterday when Vicario played him that ball, he called for the ball. And then when Vicario passed the ball, he stood still and they beat us on the counter. And you're like, don't call for it in the first place. And when you do get it, you stand still when the man beats you.
Yeah.
You need to be tactically aware of what's behind you. And then when you do receive it on the half turn, you need to be comfortable with turning away. And for me, whether it's his confidence or what, but he's only comfortable turning away in their penalty area, not ours.
I like Sarr. I mean, I thought he was our best midfielder last year because Basuma
most consistent. He had
three. Basuma had 3 suspensions. Maddison was out injured. Bentancur got injured, so I suppose he didn't have much to beat. But the thing that exasperated me, James, was the fact that what happened in the first game with Bayern, right? Gnabry found himself in so much space on the right. So you think, oh, we'll correct that and we won't let that happen again. What happened yesterday? Gnabry must have thought, well, his Christmases have come again. Look at all the space he had on the right throughout the game. He was always available to receive the ball. Where was Spence? I
actually thought Spence played well yesterday in comparison to the rest of the back four. No. I actually feel like he offered so much more going forward.
No.
But again, this is where, in my opinion, you're asking him to do an unthankful task. You're either going forward and being more of an attacking fullback or you're a defensive fullback. In the Premier League or against Bayern Munich, you can't do both.
Fine. Okay, and he looks good going forward. But my argument is, okay, you've been asked to play at left back. You're a right-sided wing back, right back, inverted fullback, whatever, right? You're now playing on the left. It's not your position. Surely you've got an ounce of brains in your head to think, well, I don't normally play here. I'm going to play myself into this game. I'm going to not take too many risks because I'm not used to playing on the... Where's the football IQ in the player?
Yeah, that's like saying he's waited all this time for an opportunity. He gets an opportunity and you're telling him to coast for the game, not take it by the scruff of the neck, not prove a point. He's there trying to prove a point and sort of make the most of his opportunity.
And he ended up breaking in midfield and on the right-hand side as well. Right?
I think he's telling him, Adrian. I think Ange is saying to him, I want you there. Make sure you make that move. Get up there. And I think what's happened is he's almost in a lose-lose situation. Either he does what the manager says, then he looks exposed defensively, or he goes more defensive, but then he doesn't give the attack what the attack needs that Ange has told him to do. Don't you just feel our fullbacks at this club, whoever it's Udogie, whether it's Spence, whether it's Porro, whether it's Ben Davies, whoever we play, they're going to get a hiding at some point, regardless, because of the way we go about it.
Well, with Porro, I was highly critical of him. He's got a fantastic skill set, though. He's technically very, very good as a footballer. And we all know when he first started and we played away at Leicester and Newcastle and we got battered, right? He was crap. He wasn't looking over his shoulder. He wasn't like guarding the far post, things like that. But then he's improved a lot defensively. I still class him more as a midfielder than I do as an inverted fullback. To me, some fans think he's a winger. He doesn't look like a winger. He doesn't.
I think he'd do excellent as a right winger.
I know. That's subjective, right? But he's improved a lot. Even towards the end of last season, you're right still. Udogie, in some of them games, look, we love him because he's young and we seem to be more forgiving for young players when they make mistakes than there are older players, right? But he dropped off a bit. His game went a bit wonky towards the end of last season, And Spence at the moment, he's got the potential. You can see the skill in him. Going forward, he can even take a guy on and all that. He's got that, but you're a defender, Jed. You know what I mean? I've said it before, if being a wing back means you're absolved from defensive responsibilities, I don't want you in my team. I don't want you in my team.
But here's the problem. When Spence goes on loan to Italy, when Porro was at in Sporting Lisbon, and when Udogie was at Udinese, this wasn't happening to them. This was not happening to them. As soon as they different tactics as well, I think, Adrian. I think these tactics. I don't know if you agree, but Dan said it many times, and a lot of us agree. We've got the perfect team almost for what Conte wanted to do with those overlapping fullbacks, right? And Ange, what he wants from our fullbacks is almost the opposite of what they're actually really good at. Don't you think that's kind of playing into it, Adrian? Don't you think that's contributing to what we're seeing?
A bit of what Udogie can do when he was charging forward yesterday on the left. I mean, I thought, glad to see you're fit, because I was just seeing if he's fit, basically. The result, it's not that important, although you like to win. You're at home in front of your fans. But what I find particularly amazing about them pre-season games, like when Gray's come on, I mean, even against Hearts, when Bergvall come on, he had 55 touches during the game against Hearts, he had more touches in the final third, pops up everywhere like a mole in your front garden or something like, you know what I mean? He does. And then we bring the others on. In every second half in a pre-season game I've watched, with the young kids, we've shown more energy, and more eagerness to get forward than we have when we start with more regular players in the first half. I don't know if you see it the same way as me.
I agree. I think the kids have outshone the experienced players in pre-season. No doubt.
They definitely have. I'd agree with that.
I agree with that. I do agree.
But is he going to use the kids?
Well, we can't rely. You can't rely on kids all day. You can bring one or two on, like in the second half. You're winning a game 2 or 3. You can blood them into the Premier League. They haven't been in the Premier League yet, have they? Gray's the nearest to have a combat experience.
There were several games, Adrian.
The Championship is a good grounding.
He could have easily brought them on and given them some breathing time, and he didn't. There was quite a few times I saw he could have done that, and he didn't. And now we've got some younger players coming in. I mean, a lot of people keep bigging up Archie Gray. I mean, I'll come to the midfield in a minute, but for me, I personally think he got absolutely destroyed yesterday. From what I noticed, he lost that ball nearly 10 times.
Game. I didn't think he got bullied yesterday. I think he showed grit, which is what we know. He showed a bit of grit yesterday. I didn't think he got. I disagree with that, Dan. I don't think he got that bullied yesterday. He did in the first Bayern game. He was poor.
My opinion on Gray is that he looked like a young kid. When he was on the ball, he looked fantastic. But then when it comes to passing the ball, he looked dreadful. He gave the ball away so many times by passing it to their players. But tactically with being like to turn his man or take that extra touch. That was fantastic. You can tell there's a player in there. But for me, the ability to play 3-yard, 4-yard passes, he just kept giving it away.
And you're asking,
and that was why he had to go for it so many times, wasn't it? He had to go back for the ball and show some force because he lost it so many times.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be getting into those positions.
Yeah, I
now
agree
I get
with that, mate.
he's 18, cut him some slack and everything. I get all that.
Yeah.
But he might look like he's got a pair on him and willing to get stuck in and try and get the ball back. That is what you want. But to get in that position in nearly 10 times, what was it, 9, 10, 11, 12 times, he lost the ball, not even through a pass, but lost it on his feet. He shouldn't be getting like that.
Yeah, it's asking a lot of kids, as much as I want to see them give them game time this season, at the right time when they're ready.
It's at the right time, isn't it?
If they're not in a red zone and all that, because two 18-year-olds, they're both 6'2", him and Bergvall, they're units, you know what I mean? And they can get stuck in. They both, Bergvall showed his tackling ability yesterday, clawing balls back. They looked like he was going to lose them, but he got the ball back and all that. They've got that. But how much stamina and energy can they give us if they're given such a running game? They're kids, their bodies are still developing. You know, even if, I don't care if you're world class, you've still got to have the stamina and energy, you know, to impose yourself on a game. I believe they can do it. I believe with Bergvall and Gray, we haven't gone backwards in the squad because Bergvall, as I've said, Bergvall's better than Skip and Gray is definitely better than Davies and Emerson who are going. So worst ways, I'd say we're treading water with those players. We aren't going backwards. And there's a lot of potential. I mean, I'm excited looking at those two in particular, you know, but I mean, I've watched the under-21s all last season. Maybe I'm been blinded by what I've seen last year, but all I see was like apart from the fullback positions for the under-21s, all I see was good players. But with Bergvall and Gray, I think both of them will be stars, but it's a question of how long is it going to take and how many games can you get out of them in a season because
Adrian, based on what? What are you basing that they're going to be stars off of? Like I said yesterday, Archie Gray took 2 or 3 good touches but lost the ball 15 times, and they're going to be a star. What are you basing this off of?
Well, I do it when I'm watching players. If they're midfield and forward players, I'm looking for players with vision who move the ball quickly, who can make things happen, right? Bergvall's the more attacking sort of midfield. I've seen that from him. I've got no qualms about him and what I've seen.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to you. Timo Werner's got the goal potential. Move the ball forward, lovely. But when he gets into any position, he loses it.
Where's the end product with him? Where's the end product? What about Bergvall's hand in the goal? What about Bergvall's hand in the Decky goal?
But that's a 7-yard pass. But you're telling me you've got no, like you think they're going to be next level. I'm saying I think you just need to sort of reel it in a bit and let their kids be kids and learn the game. Because
that's what I'm saying, how many games can you actually give them, right? I mean, I don't know regarding their bodies and fitness levels and stamina, how many games you could expect to get out of an 18-year-old. Now, all 18-year-olds have got a different physique, obviously. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen either of them play 90 minutes yet, right?
But you've already made the assumptions that they're going to be next level. That's my like. How have you made that? Like, surely
same way when you scout a player for your own subjective viewpoint, isn't it? Whether you look at a video or go and watch him play. What I've seen, Bergvall's got a skill set. He's got an excellent skill set. Gray's good defensively. He had 30 games at right back for Leeds last season. He's not a right back, right? And when you watch the clips of him playing, he can tackle. He's good in the air. He dropped in at centre back, so he showed he's versatile. He's a good player. He will make it. He will be a regular. I hope Spurs fans get out of this first 11 talk. You know, because we should be talking first 18, 18 qualities. You're allowed 5 subs and another one if you get a concussion sub at 6, and you should have a couple of spares. So we should be talking about 18. Even Man City ain't got 25,
Yeah, but you're talking of clubs that win things, and you've got people that are happy on the bench to be that 5 subs. When you're playing as badly, like look at Dragashin. You think he's going to be here next season if he doesn't get another game? No. Because why would you? You're not going to sit on the bench for a club that win nothing. With Man City, it's like, yeah, come be part of the squad. We're going to win the league. We're going to go for the Champions League.
My point to that is this season, even if we go out all the cups first, we're going to play. You've got 38 league games. 8 Europa League games and it's 48 games. If Spurs had 2 levels, in theory, this is another thing that gets me a fans. Oh, we ain't going to sit on a bench. In theory, we could fill 2 different 11s and give all those players 24 games each. 24, barring injuries and suspensions, of course. But I mean, like, I don't see. This is where Ange has got to manage, isn't it? The squad. If we want to improve the squad, you have to manage them to keep them happy. Even Pep can't keep all his players sitting happy, because look at the ones that have gone recently that didn't.
No, but you've got a lot more chance of keeping them happily when you're dangling a Champions League trophy and Premier League. What is it, 4 out of the last 5 Premier Leagues in front of them? You're going to be a lot more happy like that. We haven't won a trophy in God knows how long. So it's all well and good saying let's build a squad. We can't even build a first and 11. We haven't got a first 11.
I mean, with what Adrian said there, in his defence, I think basically what you're trying to say, Adrian, if I've understood you properly, is that you think that both these players, Bergvall and Gray, in due time, will become good players.
Yeah, it's not just that. You want to be able to look at E11. It's going to be interesting to see what E11 Ange actually picks for the Leicester away game in 8 days' time, right? It's going to be interesting to see.
Surely we know what he's picking.
Well, okay, fair enough. And then you're going to look at the bench. You're going to look at the 9 subs on the bench now, barring injuries and suspensions. And then you'll be reading between the lines. Well, hang about, who's the 5 you don't trust that have been, declared in the 25-man squad that haven't even made the match day squad? And we want to be able to look at the bench now and think, okay, our bench is better than it was last season, and I believe it will be, right? And that's what you want to see. You want to look and think, right, can we bring? It's not about plan B. It's about changing things, being able to bring players on that give you something different in the game. That's what I want to see. I want to see growth and progress, and I want the UEFA Cup, right? That's what I want.
Fair enough. I do. I mean, for me, Bergvall has been impressive. I must admit, to me, he's almost looking like, I don't think I'd start him right now, but I would definitely bring him on with 20 minutes to go to give us a bit of what we might need. But I must admit, he has impressed me. So I'll go to you quick, guys. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm right.
Same Spurs, different day?
Yeah. I mean, I watched the friendly yesterday, and after hearing for the past 2-3 weeks, month, whatever you want to call it, that our youngsters like the best thing since sliced bread, I watched the game and I thought they were all right. I'm not saying they were bad, because obviously everyone goes to extremes and says if you criticize a player, it's immediately saying you want him out. But we shouldn't be going to the season on hope that these youngsters are going to suddenly turn into the best thing. And for me, okay, Bergvall looked like he did all right. Gray showed some nice touches, some bad touches. But there's also a lot of pressure put on these kids to come in and just suddenly just turn it on. Obviously, Solanke joining has been quite welcome, because at least he's the first team player that probably will start based on what we got. But he probably won't be enough for us to challenge for the title, which Ange obviously alluded to last season. So forget that. But
same as he did a few things.
Yeah. But for me, I don't really expect anything different next season. I just think we'll be fighting for 4th, and I think we'll probably get it because of Villa's drop off with the Champions League as well on the cards for them. And I think Liverpool, we don't really know what we're going to get. Chelsea are going to be rebuilding again. So we have got this year behind us. But I don't think people hoping for like trophies or a title. I think it's just on hope that
keep
it's
on
going
dreaming
to be
sort of
different.
thing.
Yeah.
Right. So quick question I'll ask you, since everyone else has answered what we were speaking about at the start. What's your quick opinion on ours? And then I'll take it to the next bit. But just so you get your opinion here as well. With last season, with our zonal marking and with how Vicario was and how the players didn't back him up and that, just go over quickly. What's your opinion on them things? And have you seen anything in the friendlies that looks like any of that's going to change? Just so you get your wording on this as well.
Well, I'll be completely honest. Yeah, I only watched yesterday's friendly, so I can't talk on the ones before. But I actually thought our defending was worse yesterday than it was the whole last season in the corners and stuff. Because I thought he threw away the zonal marking at the last season, and then we're going to see 2 goals from corners, and then the other one was through like us playing ourselves into trouble when it just takes one ball just to hoof it out. It's just, for me, I think that's more on the players than actually Ange, the playing out stuff. I think they just need to realise they need to hoof it. Unless Ange is telling them straight up, do not hoof it. Like, I don't know. I'm not in the dressing room, so I can't confirm that. But the set pieces for me, like, alarming, because I thought they will go out and sort it out in some sort of capacity, either bring in a coach or ditch the zonal marking completely and fix the problem, because that's not really a personnel problem. That's really just a tactics or a setup problem. And something that's quite simple to fix, I'd argue.
It does seem quite simple, some of it. It's like we were saying it earlier, pretty much like, this is schoolboy shit. This is like, this isn't Premiership tactics to work out or nothing. This is what you could work out with a bunch of bloody 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
Might seem a bit deep on
it. No, it really is. It really is that simple. It's because it's so simple. We're trying to complicate it because we can't believe how simple this issue is to fix, and it's not being done. So, when something's too easy, they say it's too good to be true. No, this is so basic. It's unreal. That's why. This is why I said I think Ange is genuinely clueless when it comes to defending. I think his entire reputation has always been free-flowing, attacking football. Attack.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And Levy's just brought someone in that's going to attack because fans were so sick of Conte and Jose, pragmatic, low block. But there's no balance to this manager. He doesn't know how to set us up defensively.
But so, Stel, because you're an actual coach, I thought I'd ask you this because you're on here. Do you not think they go on the training ground during the week and say we're going to do one session a day on like set pieces and practice defending corners or something? Do you not think that happens?
But they're doing it in zonal marking. Yeah. Which, listen, all the coaching courses I've ever been on, every coach I've ever met, every ex-manager, like pro manager I've met, not one of them has ever said to me, the benefits of zonal marking outweigh man marking. No, there's no. You listen to the pundits on BBC and Sky and ITV. When did they ever say, "Yeah, we really think they should do zonal marking"? They always say, "Why aren't they man marking?"
I've done that about 20 years ago. Still, 18 years ago. Like, you laughed when I showed you my books and that. You could tell they was a relatively due time old sort of thing. But even then, like 18, 20 years ago, when I done my level 2 at West Ham. Dirty. But even they said it then, just on the level 2 coaching and going through a couple of things, when they asked the questions then, how do you defend, where would you put your players and that, and you had to do it all on pen and paper. Make myself sound like I'm 80 now, let alone 43. But the one thing they will say, you don't do zonal marking except for on the posts. You have either one man on a post or two men on a post to mark his zone, and the rest mark your bloody player. I mean, it is common sense to me.
Yeah, I'm wondering what players are doing between phases. Did any of you see Ange on the touchline during one of those preseason games, and he was using the F word, and he was going, shout at him, go effing man for man, go man for man. Did you see that video? Any of you? Did any of you see that?
I saw him going into one against Bayern Munich, but I couldn't really make sense of what he was saying. But this was in his career. No, he was. He was on. I mean, it's out there. You can see it, and he was going it. And I'm thinking, like, what happens between phases? What are players doing? What are they like? Are they not thinking, looking around? Do you know what I mean?
Adrian, do you know what? Right. I think Jose and Conte bored the shit out of the players. I think Ange is confusing the shit out of the players. I think he's so overcomplicated this. When we had Poch, it was so beautiful to watch. When we got the ball,
it was fluid.
It spread, and then Dyer would drop, and we'd have three. And then when we lost possession, we'd go compact, and we'd squeeze into our lines. And it was like transition, 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 and they got it, and it worked. With Ange, I don't think the players get it. I honestly think that is so demanding and complicated, some of the things he wants them to do, that they can't do it at times.
I think the young players are getting it better than the old ones.
Well, the young players have had 2 years of it in the academy with Simon Davies. But the young players defensively against Hearts in QPR, they got open up. They just couldn't finish their dinner. So I just think the overall tactic defensively is poor. I honestly believe Ange and the coaching team, they're not coaching good defending. I don't think
The
they get it.
frustrating thing is it wouldn't take much to fix things, would it?
Not at all. Not at all. It's an easy fix. But
it's that frustrating, isn't it? If all of us can see it, why can't he bloody see it?
Yeah. And if we had, you'd be going to the season with belief more than hope. And what I mean, the difference with that, I was going to a new season with hope because it's a new thing. Those of you that can remember and go back to the 80-81 season, well, my Spurs immune system was built bulletproof. It's indestructible because I was relegated with Spurs in 1976-77. You'll never suffer pain like that under any manager regime or whatever, right? Followed the team around in the second division, right? We come up, we get in Crooks, Archibald, and the Argentinians win the World Cup in 78. We get them in. You start watching them play, right, for a season. The next season, you went in that season with belief because you believed in those players. You believed in. You had the belief we were going to win something, and we did. And for 3 or 4 years, we won 2 FA Cups and a UEFA Cup. But you believed we were going to win. When we were going, you believed we were going to win it. And that's the difference between hope and belief. When you've got faith in the squad and all that. At the moment, it's half and half with the Spurs fan base because they're not sure. We don't even know who's going to be like, you don't even know who's going to be playing half the time. It's hard to even select an 11 pre to games because until players show a bit of form, you see a regular patterns emerge. You don't know. But, so.
I don't think anything's changed. I don't think we're going to be worse. I don't think we're going to be better. I think we're going to be the same. We're going to be that top 6 team and we're going to just flatter to deceive in the end. And regarding Bergvall, I would 100% start him. I think he's been the best player pre-season. He's the one player that I look at and I think, do you know what? Fuck me. Well done, Daniel Levy.
Yeah.
Well done, Donna Cullen. Well done, Ange. Well done, Lange. You've actually signed a player here that looks like he can really be a top player. His first touch, the way he glides on the ball, he can beat a man, he can cross a ball. Those killer passes he plays through. The vision, he plays off of instinct. He's instinctively on point. I'm not going to blow him up as the best thing since Messi and Modric. No, because he's got to prove it. He's got to go and win that respect, earn that respect. But what I'm seeing him just watching him as a footballer, I think we've signed an absolutely top player here. I really, really do.
I agree. I
think he's better than Kulu, although Kulu in this central is doing all right. But he has to start for you guys.
I agree.
He's skeptical.
But he's not been our best player pre-season. Kulusevski's been our best player pre-season. 3 goals, 4 assists. Would have been more if Werner could finish his dinner. And looks good. Where Dan has always wanted him in the false 9, number 10 role. But the thing with that is that Ange sort of said, he was asking in an interview yesterday, I watched it, do you see Kulu? Now, he might have been bluffing on live, but he said, do you see Kulu as a false number 9 or 10? He went, no. He virtually said no, which disappointed me, actually. But no, Kulu's been our best player pre-season. I think the stats will more than back it up.
Adrian, if obviously brought in Solanke. Sorry, we're brought in Solanke, yeah. So obviously, because actually not been playing in the position he's been playing pre-season, Solanke's going to walk into the team regardless of what anyone says, right? So then, if you're going to have to play him because he's been our best player pre-season, right? So I imagine most people want to start him. Do you put him in Maddison's position then instead and drop Maddison?
No, because Kulu will do what he does. I mean, when people say he's on the right wing, he's playing as a right wing, but he doesn't play as a right wing, does he? He plays on the right wing. He plays an attacking midfielder and he drops back and he plays as a fullback, doesn't he? When you see Kulu play a game, you can't say he's rigidly one player like that, a wing, like you would get a real out-and-out winging style winger. He doesn't play that way. And then he will still drift in midfield, won't he?
But then, Adrian, we just said that, and Dan obviously alluded to what Dan said earlier, that he plays best in the middle. So if you're going to play him, surely you put him in the 10, because if Solanke's going to come in.
I'm not against him playing in the 10. I'm not against him starting or against Leicester away. Right?
I am.
Fair enough. Tell us why. But I mean, no, because I think he's earned the right to play in that game. But then, I doubt it.
He has been one of our better players for the pre-season. I'll go with that.
He's been one of the better players, but let's not kid ourselves for who he's scoring these goals against. Barring yesterday, I mean, even yesterday, that first goal was a perfect laid-off ball to him, and he fluffed the first attempt. Lucky the keeper spilled it to him to allow him to have that second attempt. but also the amount of time he loses the ball again. I was like, this guy doesn't make an accurate play. He's always giving the ball away, always.
He's a weird one, James. In the
He put the
aspect
touch
of
through
he's
for
very
Mikey
good
Moore to score that goal away from
keeping that
Mike. He
ball.
put the touch through for Basuma to get his great goal against QPR. Richarlison wouldn't have been able to do that. Not in a million years.
No, but I'm not
Kulusevski,
saying.
Look at him. He's good at keeping the ball. When he's got two people on him, he's very good at holding that ball on that right-hand side for someone to get past him. But on the other side of it as well, he's also fucking terrible for losing it. He's very 50-50, isn't it? We know he can hold on to that ball because he's a bit of a unit. He ain't a small fella. And I've seen him muscle out nearly three people at one point just to hold on to the ball. And then I've also seen him get knocked out of the way by someone half the size of him and literally snatch the ball off him. Very 50-50 in that aspect.
For me, he holds the ball up lovely. Like if I was losing, if we was winning 1-0 and you bring on Kulusevski, I'd have no problem with that whatsoever because I think he'd do a job. Yeah. But technically, for me personally, he's not very good. The tricks and flicks he's good at, but the general over like the ability to play simple passes, pass on moves, the basics, I think that he's not very good at. And I think even though yesterday a lot of people went, he scored 2 goals, he must have gave the ball away 10 times yesterday.
Yeah, well, it's subjective. I like the player. I think he's got a fantastic skill set. I think he's technically very, very good. He's marmite with players. I get the fact that fans want to see his debut season form repeated in the short amount of games he came in on a January and banged in them goals and got all them assists. And like I think with a lot of players in their team, you have to remember, when we're talking about young kids like Bergville and Gray now, this is a young side. Kulu's what, 23? Is he 24 yet? Is he even 24?
I think he's just coming on 24.
I mean, some of these players have got a great ceiling, but they could also collapse, couldn't they? I mean, like, you know. But
well, so what I do quickly then. So basically, with the defence side, what we've said, nothing has changed. I think all 5 of us agree on that. So with the midfield part, we spoke about a couple of the midfielders. Has anything actually changed in midfield either? Because defence, obviously, nothing has changed. I mean, I'm saying nothing has overall changed, we've said, but I'm going through the first bits bit by bit, so some people might understand it a bit different. In midfield, for me, nothing has changed either, the way we play.
No, it's a sad indictment when Skipper's played better than Maddison and Basuma in these pre-season games that I've seen. And he has. He's played all right. He's been all right. He's been all right. I mean, like, but, you know.
For me, the only thing that has changed with our midfield is the young lads are showing no fear, so they're happy to turn and drive forward. The existing players that we've got, Basuma doesn't do that, Sarr can't do that, Maddison's not doing that, whereas the likes of Mikey Moore have got no fear. They're like, well, I'll give it a go. Why not? That's the only thing that's changed.
I'd get rid of Maddison and Basuma personally.
Yeah, a bit early, I think. Still, bit early to get the knives out. I think. I think that come January, that look, if there's a few there, isn't there? Come January, then none of them are going. Richarlison's not going. We need the second number 9, no matter what happens, right? But Basuma and Maddison, they're not going anywhere, are they? But you're going to see it. It depends how our season goes. If we come through January, and Ange, look, I don't think Ange. I mean, he might be criticised for his tactics and all that, but I don't think he'd be frightened to change things if things ain't working in games. He's going to start. I mean, I'll bet he starts Sarr, Basuma, and Maddison away at Leicester simply because them 3 have started a couple. I've noticed they've started a couple of those. I don't know if it's more than 2 of those pre-season games. So that tells me he's going with that. But like, if Basuma don't get his act together, I think he's the closest one for the chopping block. We know they've got the skill sets, both of those players, but they've got to produce the goods.
They're playing them the wrong way. It's back to that stage that I think a lot of us agree on now, is he's playing them in the right position, but he's playing them with totally what I call the wrong sync, basically. He's not syncing them in properly. It's like, if you look at Adoji and Porro, they're my 2 prime that I use for this one, yeah? Neither of them are fullbacks. People keep saying fullbacks. Neither of them are fullbacks. They are wingbacks. They are meant to be overlapping wingbacks. That is what I have seen them do. That is what Adoji done in Italy when I followed him the year when I knew we'd got him. And he was bloody good at it. And they are wingbacks, overlapping. But Ange's tactics tells them to basically underlap and get into the number 10, inverted. That is not their prime style. Now, I get it that any good player out there can learn a different style, whatever else in that, or a different way to play as such. But we all know that you're best at what you're best at. And that is that, as far as I'm concerned. In the middle, what he does with Basuma. Basuma is a brilliant player on his day. Yeah, he can be a bit off key as such, but when he was at Brighton, consistent as one of the most wanted in the Premiership. Liverpool was willing to pay up to nearly 70 million for him, but they wanted 85 plus. And he bossed other teams about in midfield. When we played him at the start of the season, we played him as more of a box-to-box, but get forward with it. As soon as we changed it, and as soon as he had those dodgy games as well and got sent off, and we started using him as more on his defensive side, then you noticed his whole game went downhill as well. And it wasn't just down to that, I don't think. I don't think his mentality does him no favours. But, okay, he can play box-to-box and he can cover a DM for moments. But he is not one that can defend as good as he can attack. He's better at getting that ball, getting forward a couple of steps, passing the short ball, let the playmaker or whoever get on with it. You look at who we've got on the side as well. Playing Kulusevski how he does. To me, he's not even just playing him out of sync. He's playing him out of bloody position. And then on the left, there's about 5 players you can name in that team that he necessarily puts in the right position, but just totally plays them to not... He doesn't play them to their strength. He doesn't play them to what they're best at.
Did you notice, though, in yesterday's game? So what I noticed, I thought Maddison and Basuma, to be fair, I thought they started brightly for the time they was on, right? And then I started to notice that, I don't know if you noticed this, Stel, you'd probably picked up, Maddison was dropping deep and picking up the ball, but it wasn't affecting us badly. He was then trying to find the longer pass to the player from a deeper position with Maddison. That's what I saw. It didn't look too bad before he took the spank on the back of the head and it got to half time and all that, and to be fair, Bayern could have gone in 3-0 up really. I mean, they had 63% possession in the first half, I think, and if they'd have gone in 3-0 up, there'd have been no complaints from me because they were better. Second half was a totally different game, but then both teams made multiple changes.
So then I'll go round just then. Whatever who wants to say it in that. So we've said that the defence ain't improving, but we've also said what needs to improve in defence. So what has Ange got to get them to do in midfield then? Where is it we're proper going wrong in midfield? Because that is what most people I see are actually saying, where we fuck it up the most, basically, and that is actually in the centre and the mid. So what's he got to do? What's he got to change? What's he got to tell them to do?
There's lack of recovery, lack of aggression in midfield. When it was going wrong last season, what did he do? It was skipping Højbjerg to come on, which worked. It held the fort in some games and other games, even when they came on. They struggled when they couldn't beat the press, when teams were even better at the press at us. I said it before, and I said it, and people did pick up on it after a while, many shows ago, Dan. I said, there are a lack of aggressive players in this squad. I like aggressive players. I'm not worried about the odd yellow cards and all that. You show it. You've looked at teams that have bullied us and we haven't reacted proactively. We haven't gone, oh, you fucking kicked me, I'm kicking you. You haven't seen that. We're too passive at time and lack conviction, especially in front of goal. I mean, Werner's got no conviction at all in front of goal.
Adrian, we don't have a midfield general player, really. We don't have a Roy Keane or a Wanyama or a...
Well,
as we point out for number 6, right? Well, Basuma is kind of like a flash in the pan. He's good at holding the ball up to a degree and driving forward. Sarr is still quite young. He's also quite light, really, on his feet. He's more of a box crasher, as Ash likes to describe it, even though he's not got the same amount of goals he should be getting. And Maddison's more of just a playmaker or sort of playmaker. So we don't really have someone in there to just run things. And as you told me before, he doesn't play with a number 6 anyway. He plays with 2 8s and they rotate. So
this is what everyone keeps asking for, Has. They keep asking for a 6.
I know, I gave up on getting number 6. I'm just saying this is the problem because we don't have one.
We don't listen, I've got to go, so I'll say my bit, then I'll wish you a good show. We don't have a player that can control a game of football in midfield. We don't have a player that can get on the ball and slow the tempo down when we need it slowing down. We haven't got a player that can get on the ball and raise the levels. We haven't got a player that can just dictate a game of football in midfield. Moussa Dembele was the best we had, right? Eriksen wasn't too bad at it higher up the pitch. We just don't have a player that can boss the midfield in a way where they control the flow of the game. And that's why you watch us play games. We might dominate possession, but we're not in control of the game. And that's what we need. Someone's going to control the game for us, like a Pirlo, for example. Pirlo was one of my favorite players doing this role. We need someone of that level. It's not Maddison because he plays too high up. Bentancur's just inconsistent. Lo Celso's always injured. Skip's not good enough. Højbjerg's gone. Pape Sarr's not going to do that. Pape Sarr's best qualities is his work rate.
Yeah,
we don't have just an out-and-out midfielder that can run a game of football. And until we sign that,
control it to help hold it together. Maybe Gray might be able to do a good job there holding.
You can't put it on Gray though. You can't put that on Gray.
No, you can't. He's too young.
He's a boy, and he hasn't got no Premiership experience.
Our number 6 needs to have a defensive mind but play like an 8. That's why I really wanted Manu Kone from Mauricio Mönchengladbach. I thought that is the player. We need something of that level. We haven't brought that player in. We need
someone like a Kimmich, don't we? Like Kimmich at Bayern Munich. We need someone like him who can do a box-to-box, but defend it, boss it, and also get forward with it. And they are few and far between.
Mate, even like a Zubimendi, right? Maybe that's not the perfect type of player, but that's a level above everything we've got that gives us a heck of a lot more.
Do you think Decky could be given a role there?
Decky's better higher up the pitch.
Why are we trying to make average players fit in play players we need rather than buy the players we need?
Well, this is what I'm saying, basically. We're playing players out of position.
It's madness. It's like, oh, well, what about Decky? Can we try and get him in? No, what we could do with Decky is sub him and bring him on last 10 minutes to hold up the ball. He shouldn't be playing anywhere else. He shouldn't. In my opinion, I had a conversation yesterday with Dan and that, and what is the end goal? And no one kind of knows what the end goal. The end goal for me is to win the league. That's the end goal. Surely that should
something.
Yeah, but the final goal should be to win the league or the Champions League. That should be your final aim. That should be when you've done that, you've completed it. You're sorted. People are saying our end goal could be top 4. Well, if that's the case, then yeah, Kulu might be able to do you a job. But for me, that's not my end goal. So Kulu can't do a job.
We won't do.
So what do we need to do to improve that midfield then? What needs to be done? What does Ange
listen, I'm gonna go.
Guys, take care of yourself. Good seeing you.
Take care. Big up the chat. Big up the chat. Cheers, mate.
See you later on, mate.
To improve the midfield, I think that you need to get players that fit Ange's system, and that's ball playing number 8s, but hard working ball players number 8s. It's not Sarr's got half of it, but Thuma's got the other half. You put them both together, you've got one of the players that he needs. It's either that. Unfortunately, I know I've said it. I mean, Dan, I've said the whole time we've got to give Ange his second season. But if we don't buy the players that he needs, then we might as well sack Ange and bring back Poch, because this is a Poch team.
I've said it for a while now before VDV, and this won't happen. But if you wanted someone to sit in front of that back 4, you could play Romero there. Then you could bring Dragusin alongside VDV.
Yeah, but again,
everything goes through Romero, though. He's the quarterback.
But again, you're saying to solve one problem, we're going to make another problem. Romero, for me, was our best defender last year. I know Mickey van der Ven's getting all the praise, but when you actually look at the defensive work, Romero's the best. But your answer to a solution is to make another problem with moving our best player out of position.
If you were, then you'd be moving more into the liking of Dan and others that have mentioned playing a back 5, because it wouldn't be much different. Because when you're defending, he would be dropping back with the other centre backs anyway. So it depends how you define a number 6. Every Spurs fan will define a number 6, a number 8, and a number 10 differently, right? If you're talking about just sitting in front of the back 4, right, and he's actually being a third centre-back sitting in front of the back 4, he could do that job. He could still go up and get his goals. He got 5 last season. He could still go up and get his goals.
He's too aggressive.
It's not going to happen.
The reason for me he can't play that is he's too aggressive. In that number 6, he's going to be relied on so much more to get that ball. But, I mean, when you look at a number 6, their main job is to win that ball back. And don't get me wrong, Romero's fantastic at it, but he loves to leave a leg or a foot in all of the time, not half time, all of the. I mean, look what happened yesterday with that Bayern Munich player. On for 2 seconds, threw him on the floor and stood over him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm here to win," and I love that but you can't have that in your number 6 because he's going to be getting red cards every 3 or 4 games, and then you're just into more problems.
James, with that one, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one, Mo. Like after that, because for me, and I don't even like using the fucking numbers for it and everything and that. For me, a DM is a DM. Yeah, I know we got different types of it, but a good old-fashioned school defensive midfielder, whether he'd start as a DM or whether he'd go in the middle and come back on himself, or even do it in a box-to-box style, was someone like Gattuso, someone like Patrick Vieira, someone like Roy Keane, someone like Makaleli, someone like Conte, stuff like that. And with a few of those players, not all of them, they was aggressive as anything. And yeah, they got a red card now and again, but a majority of the time, players were almost, I wouldn't say necessarily scared, but wary to try and get the ball by them because they knew they'd get themselves hurt. And we need someone who can boss that midfield, definitely. So
and midfielders need to be a bit more aggressive. If you looked at Bayern yesterday, even in both games, they're not worried about giving away the odd silly free kick. When we looked at, we were in a position where we might develop a good forward move. Suddenly they give the little needly free kicks away, and it's part of the dark arts as well, isn't it? It weren't like blatant shirt pulls back, and it was a friendly. So maybe in a Premier League game, maybe a couple of German players would have got yellow cards. But I mean, we need to be doing that as well. We're too passive. I think we're too passive.
During the Euros, Ash told me that Ange was like obsessed with Fabian Ruiz, the Spanish player, right? Do you think he sees a 6 as someone who sits and just sprays? Like Fabian Ruiz was kind of on the ball and just, playing like a Pirlo-esque role. I'm not saying Pirlo.
Do I was talking to my brothers and I said there's one player that if I could have now to fit Ange's squad, it would be Xabi Alonso. That for me is an Ange player. Just calm, like press as much as you want. I'll turn the other way and make my pass. Or like a Luka Modric, press, either press resistance, and they never ever give the ball away.
This is what I know about Bergvall in the 2 times he's come on against Bayern Munich. Both times, right? In the game before last, when I thought Gray was poor, I thought Bergvall was outstanding. Even when they closed him and pressed him, he still could beat the press. He still found a pass. He could still do this. I thought, yeah, this is good. Why can't others do it? You're 18 doing it. Why can't the others do it? And it's because he's got that vision and instinct at the time. I mean, he's got the football IQ as well as the skill set, isn't he?
We have got nothing in that centre mid really that bosses it, have we? I mean, looking on we don't even use the DM, so why even sort of go on about it? But we've only basically got one player now who's even got that naturally, and that is Bentancur. But for me, he's not an out-and-out DM. He never really was at Juventus, but they played him as a defensive midfielder, but more, I'd say, as a deep-line playmaker mixed with a DM sort of thing. Because he was able to get the ball quite cool, quite calm, and then just give it a pass and sit back where he does. But we play him totally different to how they played him at Juventus. And I think he actually looked better at Juventus with sitting back as the deep-line playmaker. But the other problem is with Bentancur, for me, he loses concentration too much. There'll be many a time where he's just having it nice, doing his thing, and then all of a sudden it's like he's almost got a phone call or something. And then he sort of drifts off for a second and loses the ball. He does that a bit too much for me. So, Detrex, how are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Same Spurs, different day. So, question for you then, mate, seeing as you're in here straight away. What do you think we need to do? Because everyone's basically agreed in here that the midfield hasn't changed, the defence hasn't changed, and we've said what we need to do, what he should do. What do we need to change in this bloody midfield to make it work?
But you know what? For me, I don't think it's a midfield issue. I think it's more like if we stop the inverted fullbacks, it would force the midfield to do their job, which is box to box. Because if you look, everyone is pushed going forward with the inverted fullbacks. But if we didn't play with inverted fullbacks, you would see everyone everything would be flowing and everyone would know where to go. They would know their position.
Even if we just told basically one of them to go forward at a time.
Exactly. Exactly.
And again, shouldn't a good manager see this, Detrex? I mean, we can, so why can't he?
But that's why I keep on saying he's not a good manager. He's no, he's
Or
a
it's the
good
players doing what he says.
no, he's a good manager, but he's not a good coach. And when Dyer made the comment saying we only care about the way we play, we never adapt and training, I thought he was lying, but actually it is true what he said.
Eric Dyer said it, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I believe he was telling the truth. A lot of people said, no, he
Like-
must be chatting bullshit, but I don't think he was.
like how disrespectful it is to Bayern to go and just attack them every time, and we forget that they have one of the best attack in Europe with Gnabry, Coman, and Kane.
They got one of the best teams in Europe, no two ways about it. They are one of the
Yeah.
best teams. They just had a shit season by their standards.
Exactly. Imagine we made we made top 4 last season, and we play Real Madrid in the group stage with Mbappe and Vinicius playing this way. It would be 10-0.
Go there, mate. We'd lose at about 8-1, something like that, wouldn't we? We would get absolutely cooked and walk off that pitch like John Wayne.
Exactly. So that's why I keep on
No
saying,
Vaseline, no nothing. We would get absolutely injured in a bad way, very unhealthily. I
That's why
agree
I
with
want
what
him
you're
to-
saying there.
that's why I want him to be sacked. Clearly, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Well,
So basically,
he gets all this season for me. But the most important thing all last, we got to fix the midfield. We all know, don't we? Most games are won and lost in midfield. We've got to be able to fix midfield, and we've got to be able to fix it when things go wrong. If we're playing passively and we're keeping possession of the ball, it's not a problem with win games. It's when things go wonky that we need to be able to fix the problem. Last season, we struggled to do that. Things went wrong.
Adrian, you forget that under Conte we played 2 in midfield, which was Bentancur and Højbjerg, and we still bossed midfield with only 2 midfielders.
Yeah.
So now what's the excuse? We have better midfielders, better on the ball midfielders, and we still keep losing the midfield. So now
Yeah, that's spot on. That is spot on.
So whose fault is it? Is it the midfield, the squad, or is it the manager? Because it only took 2 midfielders to boss City every game.
Well, he did. Look, his main go-to last season was 3 of like Maddison, Basuma, Bentancur, and Sarr, barring the injuries and suspensions. Right, when things went wonky, it was Højbjerg and Skip to try and dig us out of a hole, wasn't it?
But you only dug the hole deeper.
Now we got 7 midfielders. You know, because you got the 4 go-tos from last year. Now you got Gray and Bergvall. And
Adrian,
like Skip staying. So you got 7 midfielders for 6 spots. And what we're saying is we still need to add to it. We need to add something different to that mix.
Just put that in your head. The entire season, you're not going to see Bergvall. You're not going to see Gray. You're going to see Sarr, Basuma, and Maddison start every game. You know he's going to play them every game.
He doesn't seem to want to change anything, does he?
Yeah.
Never.
And you know what's funny? Every time when I see Bentancur, when he changed the midfield second half in the preseason, they always boss the midfield. But when it's always those 3, we always lose the midfield battle. But you know against Leicester away, you're going to see the same 3 players. And when things
really
go wrong,
wouldn't surprise me, mate.
And when things go wrong, he's going to put Bentancur as CDM and keep Basuma and Maddison for 90 minutes.
Yeah, and I agree with you there because my 2 favourite midfielders out of those 7 are actually Bentancur and Sarr. And so I'd be looking to play one with him.
Sarr is not a midfielder.
He is.
Sarr should be a water boy. He should not be playing at Tottenham.
You've never rated him since day one. Since I've ever known you, you've never rated him. I don't think he's as poor as you say, but I don't think he's as good as people make out.
I've played football all my life. I've met better midfielders than him, and they didn't make it.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one, but that's fair enough. It's your opinion.
I think last season made him look significantly better than what he actually is. Not that I think he's bad at all, but because the rest of the midfield was that shockingly shit, it made him look significantly better. Even though he was probably our most consistent, he was our most consistent midfielder. No 2 ways about it, as far as I'm concerned. But when someone plays that crap, or basically plays that inconsistent, it can make another player who's playing all right actually look like he's playing bloody good. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, he's won balls that broke up play that people didn't notice that eventually led to goals when he's laid the ball off. I mean, he got down the right away to Villa, didn't he? Crossed the ball for Maddison to score the first goal for the 1-0. I mean, the kid's definitely got a lot about him, but he's young, you know. I mean,
He's not
he's
young.
another one. He's another one
He's
who
not
we'll
young.
see. I mean, like,
He's
I
20.
like him. I think
he's
he's done enough.
22.
He's not out of his depth.
He's
I'm more worried
22.
about the type of profile of the midfielders we've been linked with, like Gallagher, Jacob Ramsey. We're not really being linked with like a midfield boss player, or like people were saying. They're all just runners, really.
Yeah, but that's the in the nose heads, isn't it? You know, that know absolutely nothing. I mean, the so-called expert pundits that know nothing about what's going on. I mean, who all this talk? Look at it. Just a few examples. We only went in for Gray. He probably wasn't top of our list, was he? We went in him after Brentford steamed him. So when we got him, right? Everyone was saying that Højbjerg was going here, there, and everywhere. Who would have thought Højbjerg would end up at Marseille? You know, and now we get Solanke in. We pay 65 million for him. When people think, oh, we go for Tony Jimenez or Jonathan David. Jonathan David would be 25 mil. Tony would be about 40, 45 by the time the season transfer window. Jimenez would probably be 30 to 40 mil. And yet we paid 65 mil for a striker. So, you know, and Ange actually said he wanted him. So now we know that conversation's been going on. That's been going on for weeks. And it's took longer than it should. And I get the frustration. And that deal should have been done quicker. And I'm not making excuses for the club, but the only reason I see that deal being done quicker is because we were getting out 6 or 7 players, which we've done, you know, and I think it was getting them off the wage bill. But I'm guessing at that. I mean, I might be wrong. We might just be crap at getting deals done, which I think a lot of fans would agree with as well.
We've been crap at getting deals done since day one. Just a point I want to make here, Lee Moody on the chat. With what you said there, I'll agree with half of it, and then the other part of it, no. He's trying to replicate Guardiola philosophy, but hasn't the players to enforce it. Now, I can see where you're coming from, because he does try and play a similar style to Pep. But Pep would not be stupid enough to use 2 inverted wing backs up there at the same time and 2 centre backs on the bloody halfway line. He would not do it. If he was going to even attempt that, he would make sure he's got that DM there, even if he has to put bloody John Stones there, which would usually be Rodri there anyway, to help cover those 2 at the back and make it 3 at the back when needed. So I do see where you're coming from, but it's even if you had a team like Man City doing it with the exact tactics of Postecoglou, he ain't winning the league. You're still going to concede a shitload of goals. So I can see where you're coming from, but I can also disagree in that. He tries it, but even if he had the players, even if he had the best players on the planet, he would still not win a league in a big league. He will concede too many goals. So with the midfield thing, basically, I think we all agree nothing has changed in midfield, is it?
No, go and get Edison.
That's not going to happen. I would be a very good buy, but that is not going to happen.
I know people are
Not
going to
sure.
call me crazy, but I think
you've just said go get Edison, but you've just praised Gray, Bergvall, and Son more than anything I've ever heard. So why are you going to get Edison if we've got 3 great players already?
Well, because we need something different to add to the midfield. I said that, and I said that Gray and that are young, aren't they? And that you can't rely on them and their fitness levels as they're 18-year-olds and not fully grown men to stand a full season. I mean, how many games are you going to get out of them? Even if you've got an Edison, he won't play every game.
I agree, but the more you stack pad this squad, the less these so-called great players are going to get time on the pitch, and that's the reason they don't develop. We've got all these young lads now that are unhappy at the club and they actually want to leave because they're getting no time, no game time. So even Mikey Moore, realistically, how much game time is he going to get?
He will get.
So well, you've just named Star, Gray, Bergwijn, Mikey Moore. So that's 4 midfielders you're going to give game time to, and you're going to buy another one.
Hold on. But we've already said, haven't we? We're going to play 38 league games. We've got 8 UEFA Cup games. 12. That's 40.
Yeah, but every game you can't change a midfielder to make, because even if you do that, that's 1 in 5 games that one of them gets on.
But if you've got a squad, 2 squads of 11, you, in theory, barring suspensions, you could give them 11. You could give them 24 games each. This is what I'm saying. So it's saying, even if you get an Edison in, right? He's not going to play every game of the season, so that's not going to solve the midfield issue. If we've got an issue, some games we might work. He might just steamroll teams away with what we've got. But I mean, like it's you're looking at, okay, then having said that, I watched the under-21s play nearly all their games last season, right? I want to see a lot of them given game time, preferably probably in the UEFA Cup. If we win the first 4 or 5 games, we've already qualified for the knockout stages. There's time there, right, to get them. If you're going to give them time, like I agree with Dan, you don't give them the last 5 minutes. I know these silly late substitutions are tactical, slow the game down and all that. You give them 15 minutes, then you give them 30 minutes and a half, then you give them a half. If they're good enough, you might start thinking about giving them an hour or a full game. But this squad is going to have to be rotated. It's going to have to be rotated.
I couldn't disagree more, because who do you blame for us going out to Fulham?
Well, Ange picked
the
the team.
manager.
He got it wrong.
He made 9 changes. 100% I blame the manager for that one. 9 changes for the first game, and you're playing another Premiership game. I think is probably one of the most stupid things I've ever seen a manager do. Unless you've got a team like
asking us to rotate the squad every.
Oh, we lost connection.
Yep, he'll be back. But
right, there's always a core of players that a manager likes that he's going to want to pick for each game, isn't there? There's always a core, right? Then there'll be the others on the periphery that like he'll pick. But I mean, the squad's going to have to be rotated. I mean, like whichever way you look at it, if we progress in these competitions, we're going to be playing more than 48 games. We're going to play 50, 55. We win a competition even more.
I don't know what you guys heard or whatever. But so what you're saying is, the further we get in this competition, you want to give more game time to kids that have got to learn their trade rather than our established players to win the trophies. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
because I'm not saying you in general, but I guarantee you 90% of the fan base, including myself, will be saying, why is he giving him a chance there? We're in the quarterfinals of the cup, or we've gone out first game to XYZ because he's rotated the squad and got all the kids in.
Well, so you either create a pathway or you don't. If you don't create a pathway, then you will have your good kids going, and the fans will moan about that, won't they? They will. I mean, but you're always going to have a pathway for 4 academy players, whether they play or not, and that's simply because under the rules of the 8 homegrown rules for Europe, you have to have 4 academy trained players out of those 8, and those 4 have to be players who've spent 3 years at your academy before their 21st birthday. So, and then they qualify as academy trained for Europe and the Europa League. It's a rule. So there will be. So there you've got a question of hang about. That doesn't solve the problem, because then the manager has to like those 4. If he's got a choice, he can pick the 4, but we've only got 4 at the moment. We've got Austin Whiteman, Skip and Sarr. 4. So we can't get rid of Skip, even if we want to, unless I'm mistaken. There's another 21.
I don't think we will. We
won't anyway. We're going to keep him.
And just out of question,
you say we didn't want to sell Skip, but there was a report saying that Fabrizio said we bid for Pedro Neto, giving Skip plus cash. So yeah, we want to sell him because he's shit.
Well, no,
yes, but I don't think he would. I don't think he will go. I don't think we are going to sell him. But I totally agree. He's ever since he had that injury after Norwich, he has just been. He went downhill fast. But for me, it was another one of those players who proved he looks good in the Championship, and in the Premiership looks bang average at his very best. And just out of question to Jazz Fusion here, lied 9 changes, lied again. I don't quite understand what you're getting at there, whether that's a dig at me, us, or whether it's about what Postecoglou actually did. Yeah, the League Cup. He did actually make 9 changes, didn't he, in that first game against Fulham?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
in my opinion, I think that it's a lose-lose situation in that respect, because people going, "Oh, it's a squad game, it's a squad game, it's a squad game." Yeah, until he makes those squad rotations and we go out of the cup, and everyone goes, "What did he do that for?" And it's like, well, you've just been saying all season, it's a squad game, it's a squad game. When that happens, not only are the fans going to kill him, they're going to criticise all the players that are coming on and all the young lads coming through.
I get where you're going, but you don't make 9 bloody changes. You can make 1 or 2. You can make a couple, but you don't go and make 9 changes. I mean,
I think that will depend on James. With respect, I think that will depend on whether the young player or players that have been introduced have played well or badly during that game if we do go out of a cup competition. If they played well, the manager will take brickbats for other reasons, tactics, whatever, won't he? I mean, we don't know. This is unknown territory. We know that we cannot go through the season, right, without a big squad, and hopefully we hope it's like improved in its quality.
Yeah, but it's only.
So,
but Adrian, you're just hoping. You know damn well
Yeah,
everything
you are.
saying it's not
That's
gonna
my
happen.
point. Yeah, you're hoping and seeing what
hoping.
happens.
But we all know what's
This
gonna
is what
happen.
I said to you about Bergwijn and Gray. You're telling me how you've seen enough that they're going to be outstanding players. You've watched them play against the K League, a second string Bayern Munich team, and probably an unfit Bayern Munich team in the second half. So it's like you're putting all your eggs into one basket when realistically they've done nothing. They've done absolutely nothing, and we're already putting them on a pedestal.
No, Bergwijn has been good.
well, I think that's not correct, is it? I mean, have they looked out of depth? Have they looked out of their depth?
Mate, we've
Archie
played the
Gray
K
doesn't look
League.
ready.
The Premier
Archie
League
Gray
is
doesn't-
Where
completely
else are you going
different.
to play? This is the other thing. Then you say okay, you throw them into Premier League games. When are you going to play them? When are you going to play them?
When they're good enough.
21 games.
When they're
He's
good
had a
enough, they
very
get
good
into the
round
first team.
in the championship, isn't he? All right, Bergwijn's come abroad. I've only watched loads of videos of Bergwijn before he came here in a lower league, right? I've watched more of Archie Gray because I've seen him play in the championship, and I've rated him before he even come to the club. Right, I like what I saw, but he's still got to do it in the Premier League. So has Bergwijn. But so when you're going to play them, so under your theory, you never play them then.
I'll tell you what I would do. But I don't think if we're going by what he did last season, he won't do this. So for the cup games, I'd play mixed sides. So what I mean by that is, for example, the front three, if you want to play Mikey Moore, you're playing with Son and Solanke or Son and Kulusevski or something like that. And then in the midfield, you want to play Bergwijn, you're playing with two senior players like Bentancur and Maddison or something. And if you want to put one of Graham in defence, you can play like Dragusin, Van de Ven, Dogi, and then put Gray on the right. You have to do it that way. You can't just chuck with them all in with a load of deadwood or a load of squad players and expect them to perform. But will he do that? I don't know, because we have a history of making 9-10 changes in the cups, not just with Ange. I've seen it with other managers before as well. So
you know why I don't think that the reason I don't think that would work is because there's too much pressure on us to win something now. It's gone so long that every cup competition to us fans is live or die. So the moment he makes one change, once he makes one change, they're under pressure to perform. That's why, in my opinion, it's the pressure. When you have big name players or good players, they don't feel the pressure. Our squad is full of average players. As soon as there's a bit of pressure on, they flop.
No, you're right. I'm just trying
we
to
are
be
that
creative
desperate. We are that desperate for a cup. The only thing I can refer it to is I think a lot of people have been at this stage in their life or whatever, where you're just that desperate, you don't give a shit who you go home with. I mean, that's usually when you're 18 and like 20 sort of thing. And we are that desperate that we don't really care what we go home with. Even if it's a League Cup and we finish 10th, I think a lot of us, me being one of them, could forgive the 10th place and just be happy we got a poxy fucking League Cup. It has become that bad, where that night you just get pissed up and you take home whatever. You're not really fussed.
At 3 a.m. basically.
James is right about the pressure. And the thing was, back in the day, and I watched the team play. Sorry about that. Oven going off, right?
Really, get a bacon out.
Back in the day, if you were going to bring a reserve player in, you brought one in who played with the other 10 experienced players on the pitch. You did it. The only way you can change it now and take the pressure off yourself is if you've already won the game. If you've played one youngster in your side and you're winning a game 3-0 and it's 15 minutes to go, then you could bring one or two more on. You shouldn't lose a game at that stage, right? Then you can do it. But other than that, well, this is Ange's got to deal with this. I mean, fans want a pathway, and then if it goes wrong, why did he play them? I mean,
the problem is, Adrian, is that last season when he made these 9 changes, that was too many changes because the players come in and they don't have anyone to guide them around them. Basically, that's what I was trying to say by playing a mixed side. Because at least if you had to say Son there with, I don't know, Kulusevski, that was just an example with Mikey Moore. At least Son, because he's a senior player, he's the captain of the club, can try and help him throughout the game and guide him about what to do. rather than having him, say, play him up front with Mikey Moore, Lancashire, and some other youngster, and expect them all to just click. Like, it's not going to work.
For me, when
as
Daniel Levy sells the soul of the club by firing Poch to bring in Mourinho, that shows you how desperate we are. And I'm not, no disrespect to Mourinho, but when you sell the best manager we've had in the Premier League era, or one of, for Mourinho, a serial winner that's going to blow everything up, like that shows you how desperate we are. So it's
yeah.
and
But
then
when you
you're
don't
going to bring in.
games, that's the problem, isn't it? If he would have backed,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a question I'll go to now, then, yeah, because I do want to talk about the attack side as well, because we've gone through the defence and the midfield, and nothing has changed, and what we need to change.
Yeah,
but I quite like the comment that I just see on it. I think I've just bloody lost it. That basically saying, here we are. And has Ange been let down, or is he just another puppet manager with Levy pulling the strings? Now, for me, I don't think Ange has been let down. I think he's actually been backed up more than any manager we've had in the past 5 years. Look at the money he has had spent on him. Look at the players in that team that, by his words, he has picked. I don't think he's actually been let down by Levy on this one, if I'm going to be totally honest.
I think he's been
300 million he's had nearly spent on him, and he nearly 300 million.
I think he's had money spent, but I don't believe that they're all. No, I don't believe that every single one of them are
it's
not
his words. He said
club signings. Yeah, this
So
whole
he said
bullshit about no more club signings, that's bollocks, man. In my opinion. But
but
yeah, I agree.
I think he's just a puppet, personally.
Well, we're led to believe that Levy, who's in the overall commander, isn't he? Like, so he says, like, this is the budget you've got, apart from pay as you sell, right? So Scott Munn would have had the budget. Then you've got Johan Langer, haven't you? Director of football. Then you've got Mackenzie, chief scout. Now you've got Leggett, who we nicked off Bayern Munich.
Okay, but
First
Adrian,
team scout, right? And then you've got Ange, haven't you? I mean, that's
Adrian,
it.
There's
Yeah,
no
but what
way.
I'm saying is they're given the money. Now, look, Solanke was an Ange signing. We could have got
No,
him
he
cheap
wasn't.
strikers. Oh,
He
yes,
wasn't
he
an
said he
accent.
was.
No,
Detrex.
he's lying.
Go and watch
He's
the latest
lying.
videos of Ange. He said
Okay,
he
wait.
said
Yeah,
he
wait.
wanted Solanke.
Okay. If I say, he had the whole summer to say, I want Solanke, but out of nowhere, when we couldn't afford any strikers, he said, oh, let me buy Solanke for 65 million. Are you kidding me?
Right.
If you wanted Solanke, why didn't you get him before the Euros? If he was his player?
Exactly.
I'm not
The
arguing
Euros don't
about
matter. He didn't play
I'm
the
not
Euros,
arguing
did he?
about
That's
that.
what I'm saying. So if Solanke was Ange's player, why didn't they go and get him before the Euros?
I'm
Because
not
you know
arguing
that.
against
No,
the
no.
length of time.
I heard he was further
far
down the
too long.
list than other strikers anyway.
Well,
Because
no,
Adrian,
that may be right as well, Has. And the other thing coming out of the club was we have to sell and get rid of Deadwood before we bring players in. That was coming through Ali Gold and other reports. Not a lot of these beers. At least it's got some ear to the club, other than a lot of this bullshit media that's out there all the time, even now, reporting on crap, right? So, like, no, he wanted him. And when you go to Werner, he wanted Werner in January. Why? In January, even though he came...
Oh, man, I'm sorry, man. You're chatting.
Okay, let me finish, then you can rebut what I have to say, right? And the reason he wanted Werner, and the reason we got him back on loan again, is because Werner fits the system perfectly. He's a wide
he doesn't.
with electric.
He
I don't
doesn't.
like the player. I don't like the player. Can see me cuss him off enough times. I didn't even want Brendan Johnson either for that money because he wasn't oven ready. But both those players, wide players, electric pace, who hug the touchline, perfect for this.
No, they're not.
You wanted Solanke.
I'm sorry. If you believe that Ange went into Levy and said, if you believe that he went into Levy and said, you know what, Timo Werner is the perfect player for my system. He either needs to be sacked immediately as he walks into that meeting. Levy needs to say, "Nah, mate, you ain't ready for this kind of job. You're out of here."
Yeah. Or he needs
Don't
to
make
slap in
sense.
the face with a wet fish, doesn't he? Like,
100%. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's no way. If Ange went up to Levy and said, "Look, Dominic Solanke, all the stats, that's all I want," he goes, "Yeah, let me wait 3 months and I'll bring him in for you. No problem." I'm sorry, it don't make sense because they gave him all that money up front anyway, so it doesn't make sense to me.
You see
Adrian,
the
if you
first thing
told
with
me,
Werner, yeah?
can
Go
I?
on, Detrex.
Yeah, if you told me that Eze, Conor Gallagher, those two players are Ange signing, I would say yes, I would agree with you. But
Agree.
Solanke, out of nowhere, we buy him. I don't believe it.
Well, why did
It's
why?
like
Okay,
release.
then.
It's
Now
like
we played.
release.
It's rumored to have played 55 to 65 million with add-ons. Why have we gone in? Why have we got Solanke then when we could have got Tony cheaper, Jimenez cheaper?
It's
Jonathan
like
Davis?
Richarlison under Conte. It's like Richarlison under Conte. Why did we spend 60 million and we could have bought something better?
Conte didn't want Richarlison, to be honest.
And even Conte didn't want Richarlison for 60 million.
Yeah, but we're talking about Ange. So why Solanke and not one of those others who would have been cheaper? Would have more money left over to spend elsewhere.
Because you're singling out Ange, but it's happened under Ange, it's happened under Conte, it's happened under Mourinho. So how can this one time be Ange's player? That's who he wanted. But the same thing happened to Conte, the same thing happened to Mourinho, the same thing happened to Pochettino. But yet this time it's Ange's fault, not Levy's. No, the same problems keep coming over and over and over and over again. But this time it's Ange's fault. They're Ange's players. It's been happening for the last 20 years of him being in charge.
I agree totally, yeah, but I'm only holding a man to his word. And
I agree with you, though, Dan. I agree with you.
Unless he lied on that press conference when he was asked.
Of course he has. And people say to me, Adrian and everyone, why do you keep holding what Ange says so much? Reason being is because, well, people say you've got to show a manager like a bit of respect, this and that. I mean, for me, respect is a word used too often. Yeah, for me, respect is something you bloody earn. I haven't got to respect no one. I haven't got to respect what they believe. I haven't got to respect anyone. I've just got to show them common courtesy in what they believe in and who they are. If they want respect, they can bloody earn it. But that's where we all look on things different. Ange will get respect off me when I see him do something at Spurs worth showing respect for. Now, what I've done with Ange, what I feel, is just hold a man to his word by almost giving him the respect or the credit of like a man of his word. That's what you're meant to be a good man, isn't it? Be a man of your word, not just stand there and chat bullshit to keep everybody happy. And as all I've done with him is basically hold him to his exact words of he is the one who says, I want those players or they go through me, whatever way it was put, yeah? And so I just hold him to his word. But now all of a sudden, he's flip-flopped right into the other side of like, oh, yeah, but it's not all down to me and everything else in that. So as the man just realised that he was chatting bullshit and he's been sussed out with it and people are starting to get pissed off.
When did he say that, Dan? I haven't heard him say that. It wasn't all down to me and all that. When did he say that?
I can't remember the exact words he used, but it was just basically on the interview he'd done the other day. He totally flip-flopped to what he said at the very start when he came to us. I can't remember the exact what he said, but it was basically he flip-flopped on what he said at the very start. If someone can bring it up or show me on here, brilliant. But a few people will know what I'm on about.
The problem is
and that's all I've done is holding to his word. That is all I've done with a man. And to me, that's showing someone credit, isn't it? Or should I just sit there and say, it's only Ange, he chats shit anyway, just ignore him? Now, that's being disrespectful, isn't it?
Yeah.
People make your minds up.
I think the reason for the late signings was because we were clearing out Deadwood. I'm not making excuses for the club. I still think the deal should be done quicker. I think the Solanke deal's been, it just didn't happen these last couple of days. I think it's been in abeyance for at least 2 or 3 weeks or so or whatever. And I think like Paratici, I think there's a list of players in all positions. But it's shown that come to make a choice, when they made a choice, I mean, I'm not overwhelmed or underwhelmed with Solanke, but at least he presses. So he does suit the system, right?
But Adrian, there's no way in hell you would tell me, oh, name me 5 strikers you want to buy this summer, and Solanke you're going to mention him. There's no way.
What, 5 strikers?
No, I tell you, like, before the summer, name me the 5 strikers you want to buy this summer. Nobody's going to mention Solanke.
Well, we know the ones the fans want.
If you told me Ivan Toney,
Davies, Tony, Solanke's 4. You had a Pender at Leipzig 5. You had Girakis at Sporting 6. Even Omar Mamouche was mentioned at Eintracht Frankfurt.
But if you mention
Garassi
Adrian, let Detrex finish. He's got a couple more.
But you see, you're making my point.
Counter it.
You just named me 5 strikers, but there's no way that Ange said, I want Solanke. He's my number 1 striker. I want to buy this summer.
But if he picked Timo Werner, you could believe that he picked Solanke as well. For me, I mean, I'll come to you next on this. For
But
me,
what's worse, Ange picking Werner or the club picking Werner, or Ange picking Solanke or the club picking Solanke? What's worse?
now
Every
with
single
this
one
one,
of them is bad. Go ahead.
Timo
Yes, sorry,
Werner, getting him for the first 6 months, I could see why we done it. Yeah, I could actually see the idea of why we done it. Not that I liked it, not that I really agreed with it, but I could see a reason to it. And then complaining that our strike force ain't good enough, ain't consistent enough, ain't whatever way you want to put it. And then he goes and re-signs one of the bloody problems. Again, he was the one who stated that he picks him. How am I now meant to show this man credit when he goes and gets Timo fucking Werner in for the second time, when he was just complaining about basically what we've got up front only barely, 2 months earlier?
But if we go by that logic as well, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Dan, I agree. If you have the final say, you've got to take some of the criticism, but you can only have the final say on what's offered to you. So if he's saying the likes of right, I'm trying to word it. If he's saying the likes of right, the whole front three need to be replaced. Yeah, we need better strikers. And then Timo Werner comes in. Isn't that showing us all that Timo Werner isn't an Ange player because he's clearly called him out?
I would have thought so, but he came back into the club. I mean, if I was a manager there and Levy said, right, there you go, I can give you Timo Werner, I'd have been like, fuck off, mate. I'd just have one of the youth academy in there and go and spend that 165 on someone else.
Yeah,
like a week, basically.
It's
And
just
I don't think Daniel Levy would have. I don't think Daniel Levy would have argued that one.
And another lie he just said. Sorry, just one more thing quickly before I go. Another lie he just said. He's. Do you know when Richarlison came out and said, "I'm not going to Saudi. I want to have ambition," and now he comes out and says, "Oh, I'm happy. Richarlison is going to be a part of the squad." There's no way you're going to be happy.
I think a lot of the conversation we're having over whether you believe or want to believe what tier of media has come out with a story, and people are just quoting. And like a lot, and we know this to me has been the worst transfer window for BS by the media I've ever experienced. Because when you just logically look trying to read between the lines of some of these stories, they're just BS. That Richarlison was going to have to be sold before we brought Solanke in. What a load of rubbish. That Richarlison wants to leave the club. Right. Where's he going? You don't want to go to Saudi in his career. Where's he going?
News, Adrian.
Who wants him anyway? Who would want him in England anyway? No one.
There is news with that, and we'll come to Richie in a minute, yeah? Because someone's got a question here, quick. How many goals, all competitions from? I'm not even going to try and pronounce your name, mate, because I'll bite my tongue off. So, but how many goals in all competitions do you guys expect from Solanke next season?
15.
Go on, Detrex.
15 if we don't buy any wingers.
You're right.
None of them are gonna. Because none of them are gonna be able to cross the ball. So 15.
None of them can cross the fucking ball. That's half the problem.
So that's my point. That's why I'm saying 15.
I think
and that's with penalties.
I think that's a fair point. Has?
Going off what Detrex said, I actually said 15 in another chat. So 14 in the Premier League or 13 in the Premier League, and you get like 1 or 2 in the other cups somewhere else.
So basically, he's going to do what Richarlison did last year, you reckon?
Pretty much, unless what Detrex said, we signed some decent wingers. But I just don't see it happening.
Because we need wingers that can cross the ball. Because
Richarlison got 11, didn't he? Son got 16. I haven't got a clue how many goals he's going to get.
So what was the number so far? Are you on about Solanke's goal? Yeah. Or just
me and Detrex both said 15.
What, goals and assists or goals?
Goals.
Goals. I'm going to say 22. Yeah. I think in his own system, it's such self-destruct that he's going to get 50, 60 chances a season. So I expect him to put 20 to 22 away.
But that's all competition.
All right, I'll give him 20 and Werner will miss 20.
20 for Werner, huh?
No, he's going to miss 20 or 6.
Miss 20. You think he's going to have that much of a good season? Only 20.
I don't think he get much game time, to be honest, because Son's going to play on the left, and I hope Mikey Moore plays rather than.
I've got to be honest, guys. I'm worried about Son. I was worried about him 2 seasons ago, but I watched him in the preseason game. He looked done. Like he can't run.
There was that one moment that stood out for me where they played him through on goal and he was 6 yards ahead of everybody. Took a big touch and I thought, yeah, perfect sun touch. And then stopped. They caught him up and he stopped in the cutback. I was like, yeah, you ain't got that pace anymore.
I've said this for a long time to people now, yeah, and I know Son is very loved and everyone at the club loves him and he's done a lot and everything. I totally agree. But this is where the ruthless side of a team has to come in and say, you're done and dusted. Now, I'm not saying Son is done and dusted just yet, but I personally think this is his last season of where he's going to be of any significance. Why? Because Son is one of those players that he relies excellent at finishing the ball, world class at finishing. But as a world class player, no, he hasn't got enough in him for that. But when a player like Son, who relies on his pace so much, and the one I'll always refer him to is Michael Owen. Brilliant player when he had the ball and putting it in the back of the net and sprinting with it. That's what the boy done. Sprinted with it, put it in the back of the net. Son, bit more capable. But Son now losing his pace, and I think he's lost a good couple of yards now, and it's only going to go lower, and that's because of his age. That's just shit happens, basically. I think he's going to become quite... All right, then, Detrex, take care of yourself.
Take care, everyone.
See you, Detrex.
Hopefully we beat Leicester. Take care,
Let's hope so. I'll speak to you before then. Take
I
it, mate.
I just
So
think
when hang on a sec, Adrian. So when Son actually does lose that bit more pace, like he already is, it's starting to show that he's not going to be very useful. Because really, without his pace, what actually is Son? What can he actually do without his pace?
The only thing I'd say about Son, how I would use him at least for now, is a rotational player / super sub. Bring him on for like the last 20 minutes. You're chasing a goal, chuck him on up front with someone else, and just hope we just grab one. Or in like the cup games, you could play him with someone, I guess, as well. And just you're gonna have to manage his minutes like a lot this season because he doesn't have the legs anymore. It's just age.
I don't think he has.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that started showing last season.
Yeah, even the season before that. It's Conte's last season I saw a drop off as well. But
I'm with Dan on this one, seeing how the season goes as his age is now, because his strike rate for a winger, like 16 goals last season, it was always considered, I don't know what it is in modern times, it was always considered back in the day that a 1 in 4 strike rate for a winger was good.
He was more playing up front though last year, Adrian.
So 10 goals a season would be good for a wide player. For using 2, you want to get at least 5 each or whatever in a system. So Sonny, as he got 16 last season, pace, he can afford to lose half a yard of pace as long as he got that. He can lose a defender.
He's already lost too much.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm talking about slipping past the player inside the box. If he still scores the goals, no one else scores as many goals as he does.
But Adrian, his variation of his goals last season, though, Adrian, and I'm trying to point this out to people. If you look at the type of goals he scored last season, they're all like in the box, tap-ins / side foot shots on the instinct shots.
First time finish
outside the box. None of them were like him creating his own chances, like when back in the day when he went past those Chelsea players and scored that goal, because he doesn't have the legs. It's just age. Like with Bale, when Bale came back, and this is why I kind of learned it on reflection with Son, because the same thing's sort of happening, is that because they lose their pace, they might still have the ability to score these goals, but they just don't have the pace to take on players anymore.
Exactly. And I don't think anyone's saying Son is done. Not yet. But he's definitely on the decline, isn't he?
What I'm trying to say
is definitely on the decline.
Yeah.
No, because he relies on his pace so much. This is why you find that strikers like the ones I always use, Teddy Sheringham, Giroud, 2 strikers I can name there that didn't have an ounce of pace on them. I could have outrun them 2 without even running. But their careers last a lot longer because they don't rely on the pace. A striker's career can last a lot longer if he's not a player that relies so heavy on his pace. Son does. That is one of the main instincts of his game. He needs that pace. Without that pace, to me, Son isn't that useful. And I agree with what you've said, bringing him on with 20 minutes to go, get him to hang around the box basically and do something from there, because his finishing is still clinical as anybody else.
Exactly, yeah.
But without his pace out on the left, he's not going to be that useful, I don't think, because he can't pass too well. He can't cross the bloody ball. So without his pace, what use? I think he loses quite a bit. I mean, Alex, you just come in here. I know what we're talking about.
This is why Kane is going to, I think, last longer in his career because he just never relied on pace.
It's
Technically
exactly what I'm
gifted.
saying.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, but big up Dan, man. I'm only coming on because I like you, and also I'm not really feeling that
Cheers.
great. It's maybe holiday blues, or maybe that is the point anyway. But I just
Probably
wanted
is
to
like
make a
that when I
point.
came back from my beefer, mate. When I came back from my beefer, I felt ill, and it wasn't because I got so pissed out there. It's because I just wanted to go back there. So I get
Yeah,
you.
I think that's the case. Holiday blues, maybe.
It's called depression.
Yeah, maybe. But I just need to just say something. This all this rubbish about well, managers need to take whatever is given to them. Pochettino, maybe this is maybe a point because he stayed here a little bit longer. You know that year that we didn't sign anybody. We didn't sign absolutely nobody. He was offered players. He was offered players all day long, every single day. I think Tillerman's was offered to him. I think a few were offered to him. He said no. He said no. Because the reason why is because of Sissoko. Yeah? And look what happened to Sissoko. He made it work. He made it work because he was a very, very good coach. Yeah? So this excuse saying that, oh well, Ange, he's got to do this, he's got to do that, he's got to do this. Well, I'm sorry, mate. Like, if you're gonna take the players, and even now you're saying whatever player comes to this club, you've authorized. It's on you, bro. It's on you. You've got to make it work. I'm sorry. The guy talks too much. The guy said too much, and the guy is just digging a hole for him all day long, every single day. I'm sorry, because Pochettino made it work. Even if you want to go even further, Mourinho made it work.
Even
Look
Rendon.
what happened.
Mourinho was the one who sussed out basically what to do with Son and Kane and how to make them the best you can out of the pair of them, didn't he? Mourinho was the one that actually sussed them two out.
Exactly.
As a pair as such, wasn't it?
Exactly. And I stick by what I say, right? That strike force does not excite me whatsoever. I'm sticking by what I say, right? That midfield, I agree with Sava, useless. Sorry. Right? I agree with him what he said about Maddison as well. Too many people around him. He needs to be a actual, number 10.
He needs some breathing space, doesn't he?
Needs some breathing space because Paul Scholes summed it up perfectly.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I can see why the whole Gallagher thing. Again, I still say what I say. He's not quality. He's not skillful. He's an athlete. We need an athlete.
I agree with you on that one.
He's an athlete with an ability. That's what we needed, right? And defense. I'm sorry, right? That defense is going to be so much trouble. With how many games? 2 games a week, and the goalkeeper's looking a bit shady as well. But the thing is, though, when you're asking him to do stuff and trying to do stuff that he's not really familiar with, what you're doing. And this is with a new coaching staff, by the way.
I've got to shoot, boys.
Yep, no problem.
We got.
I mean, I've only got another 20 minutes left in me, so good to have you on here, James. Take care of yourself, mate, and
Take care, lad.
soon.
See you later. Bye.
Right, so we've basically agreed with everybody who's come on here that nothing's changed in midfield, nothing's changed in defence, and nothing has really changed up front either. Okay, Solanke, we've got ourselves a striker now, and with him, I'm a bit more, okay, let's see where it goes. I think for 65 million, we got absolutely our pants pulled down and absolutely screwed, but if it would have been 30, 35 million, I would have been, do you know what, that's not such a bad buy. But for 65 million, I think we absolutely, I'll put it blunt.
He's got to hit the ground running. He's got to hit the ground running, Dave. Dan. He's got to hit the ground running because unfortunately he's in his prime now. There's none of this. Like, this is why I want Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney, regardless what you think about him, he's got the arrogance, right? And if he's not doing well, he still have that arrogance and self-confidence to say, "So what? I don't care. I'm still gonna bang it in. Yeah, I'm still gonna go out every single time. Yeah." So this Solanke, right? You're gonna have to have self-confidence, yeah, because we can't be wasting time for people that need confidence. Because this game doesn't wait for no man. Like I said before, yeah, Teddy Sheringham was not the likable guy. He was not a likable guy whatsoever. Yeah, ask Andy Cole. Yeah, right? But all the time he had great partnerships. Yeah,
And
with
Andy Cole and Dwight York were excellent.
Dwight York. Yeah, and he won championships and cups.
I mean,
People
Andy
still
Cole was
looked
one
up
of the
to
most
him regardless
arrogant
whether they didn't
bastards
like
you
him
could
or
ever
not.
get. Andy Cole and Dwight York didn't even like each other. They didn't even talk, and they both admitted that. But they were good on the pitch. So, Lord Rodney Trotter, what you just said here, it's not 65 million, though. It's most likely 15 and 10 a year for 5 years, which will still add up to 65 million cost on him. I know we paid, from what I've read, significantly over a few things. We paid, what was it, 30, 35 up front, something along them terms.
Plus add-ons, all that stuff.
And then it goes up to about 60 mil over his 6-year contract. I mean, 6 years as well. And
just on that one point for those in the chat, if you don't know, all contracts under rules now have to be paid up in 5 years because Chelsea tried to pull the stroke with the 8 years.
That's right.
That's all been stopped. You can sign a player for 10 years if you want, but you've got to pay the fee up over 5. It doesn't matter, right? Just wanted to clear that point up for those in the chat and that, yeah? I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was for the actual length of the contract, but I think where Chelsea messed about with that, wasn't it?
You can pay up earlier if you want to, but who wants to do that? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And yeah, so they did it by that, basically. So for me, there's been no change in the system. We've had a change in one player who can get into that first team, which I don't think is really going to make much difference because I don't think he's going to score more than 15. Or even if he scores 20, okay. But we haven't really got no one else up front who can just on the wings or whatever, who can put it in the back of the net against a good team on a regular basis. Again, bring it with Solanke. Out of the 19 goals he scored last season, only 2 of them were against bigger clubs, i.e. Villa and Man U. The rest of them were the smaller clubs. But then in his defence, he was with Bournemouth. So I'm willing to cut Solanke a bit of slack here. I don't like the 65 million bit. I do think we got absolutely screwed on that. But I think he could do an all right job. But is he a 65 million player? No, that is where we got done like a kipper. Big time.
He must want him, though, because the whole point is, even though he said he has, so we know he did. But to me, you put another 10 mil on that or whatever, and you know how much I wanted Vlahovic. But Solanke presses, you know. I mean, another 10 mil, you're close to getting Gyökeres as well, if you think he's a one-season wonder at Sporting or not, because he weren't that hot at Coventry. You know, David has missed enough chances for Canada as well in his league, even though he's improved the last 2 years in France, but it's a French league. Jimenez didn't score any more goals than Troy Parrott in the Dutch league in the Eredivisie. So, I mean, like, and it weren't exactly, I mean, there weren't a great selection of strikers out there, guys, was there, that were available? Osimhen, you know, there wasn't. I mean, what are we going to do?
I think but the thing is, this one, that is tricky. One sec, Alex. Just want to say a big thanks to Bertie Hotspur becoming a member. It's appreciated, mate. Just quickly with what Alex said there, I do agree in that aspect. Sorry, what Adrian said there. We are quite limited on choice of strikers because they're few and far between at the moment, really, aren't they? Alex, what you were saying, mate.
So I agree with Adrian. I've said this before, that there's not that many strikers out there, that especially back in the 90s, there were loads of strikers, especially in the 2000s. But
I've got to go in 5
defenders, wasn't it?
Got to go in 5, okay. It's been a great show, though. Great show.
I will go as well in a bit. So,
I'm done in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But in my eyes, I still think that you know, he needs to hit the ground running, and even if he helps some of the players up front, for instance, if he's holding up the ball better than what Richarlison does, and gets players into play, and that's it. And then he could be like a Firmino. You know what I mean? That could be the help that he gives us. That's the thing that he could do. You know what I mean? It might not just be goals that he could just contribute. It might be just the way that he plays and helps us. And
I think he can hold the ball in the where we press so far forward, and a lot of teams just sit back in defence basically to sandwich it up. That is where Son can't handle it, and I think Richarlison is actually better than Son at that. But Solanke.
I mean, from what I say, I just think that he's just, you know,
he's not there, but he's all. No, I think something just went a bit funny there.
Yeah, you went a bit funny there.
You're back now, Dan.
Go on.
Yeah, it's all good now.
Yeah, but I just think for me, if he could do a Firmino role, maybe that'd be useful for him as well. Because the thing is that we don't have anybody that holds up the ball, and that's
But
what
we
he
haven't
might.
got
He
someone who
might.
would come in from the wings and score regular, have we? If we tried doing it like that.
Yeah, but the problem is then you got to look at your wingers though, and the wingers. I'm sorry, the wingers are just useless. I'm sorry, I can't do the. I'm sorry,
I
just
agree.
can't.
I
I
agree.
can't do fucking. I can't. Sorry for swearing. I can't do Werner. I can't do Werner. I'm sorry,
Oh,
Johnson's
mate.
useless. I mean, someone said it perfectly to me. I'd rather have Werner than Blooming Johnson, and anybody that's defending Johnson, you get the club you deserve. I'm sorry, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it. Solomon, forget me. Forget it. Yeah, and Son, like he's got credit in the bank, but I'm nah. What is this?
Look,
What is
I've
this?
said it. I've said it in multiple podcasts all the time since 1992 when the Premier League was inaugurated. It then took like 82 goals, I think it was, to win the Premier League. It then went up to about 85, 86 when Man City scored 106 or 101 goals in a league season. And now last season, Arsenal scored 90 goals and they only finished second.
So really, we need 100.
About the front three, but I've said, where are we getting 85 goals from? Where are we getting 85 goals from?
Yeah, but you know
This is why I
what?
wouldn't get
It's the amount we
Son's goals dry up.
concede.
That's the issue. Then it becomes an issue with me, but not before his goals dry up. But then the other two wingers, Johnson, Werner
Werner doesn't score, so you lose.
It's the
It's the amount we concede.
You know
So,
what I mean?
right, I'm going to finish this here because I'm now starting to get a knock on the door and that. And
Okay.
so thanks for everyone who's come on here. It's much appreciated. Everyone on the chat, thank you. If you can give us a quick like, it's appreciated. Subscribe if you wish. And so I think we pretty much all agree, and I think I can speak for the others who've been on here as well. Nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed.
The
He's
midfield
still walking
needs
at the
to
end
be
of the season. He's still walking at the
Fix
end
the
of the season.
midfield will improve all round. We still need to score more goals, but fix the midfield and we'll improve.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying nothing at this moment in time.
We're not
has changed.
fixing that midfield. We're not fixing that midfield. If we're going to fix this midfield, we'll link with bloody Ramsey, for goodness sake. A reject from bloody Aston Villa, for goodness sake. So nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. I'm sorry. This is the problem. And Adrian, I'm not having a go at you, but I bet you saw the team in 1960 and 1980. Yeah? And I'll tell you right now, there are more men in that team. No disrespect to women. I'm not having a go at women, by the way. It's games
but
for
you're
everybody.
talking about men playing football at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I don't
saying.
think anyone will take it as that, mate.
But it's the point.
These days.
No. That's why I was trying to qualify it. But the point is that the point I'm making is that you saw players that actually made something themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the difference was when you had a double winning team, you went into every season with belief because that was such an incredible team, right? And when you went to the 80s, like I said earlier to these guys, once Odell and Ardiles gelled together with Villa and Archibald and Crooks and all that, you didn't go into a season with hope. You went into a season with belief.
Adrian, have we signed
players got relegated, Bob?
No,
relegated.
Now I will go into. I go into all season with hope. I've said it on every podcast. I wouldn't leave my front door and go to Spurs. I live a mile and a half for a grand if I thought we were going to lose the game. That's the way my mind works, right? So I'm always positive. I always try to find the positive in everything, right?
Fair enough.
I'm practical and realistic at the same time. I try to balance my point of view, right, and be impartial in what I'm saying. With this season, I'll go in with hope, not belief.
I'm not having a go at you, Adrian. Adrian, I'm not having a go at you for not having hope. That's not what I'm doing here. The point I'm making is that you saw the team from 1960 and 1980. Yeah, one team that 1980 we came back from relegation.
Yeah,
came back from relegation.
We were relegated in 1976-77 season. We came up in the following season with a draw at Southampton, 0-0 away, goal difference, and then we bought our dealers in Villa for, I think it was like something like 450,000.
Since then, we've been not relevant whatsoever, and everyone, all they tell me is to get me off WhatsApp groups because they say I'm too negative. But what have I not said? That's not the truth.
As well.
What is it? What are the truth?
Alex,
what truth I've not said?
This is the last I'm going to mention before I cut this up, because next
I've
thing I
got
know,
to go.
the door's going to get kicked open and people have got to go, yeah? Alex, one thing I've backed you up on for a long time now, mate, and everybody should know me by now. I say it how I see it. If I thought you were chatting shit, I'd tell you straight to your face, mate. Same as I would anyone else, yeah? You got a lot of stick at one point for quite a few comments you made. And literally everybody, and I do mean everybody on here, 80% of what you said, I'd say, 80% of what you said when I first started doing this about 13 months ago actually came true. Whereas other people, I say 70%, 75%. You're actually the one on here that I will put down blatantly, even though they thought they was half comical, some of the stuff you said. It's actually the stuff that's actually fucking happened. So I think some people just need to accept it. In that one, I will defend you till the cows come home, mate. Right, so thanks for everyone for coming on. Give us a quick like and subscribe. Adrian, where do we find you?
You can find me in my Spurs Facebook group, Spurs Diehards TTID. We've got about nearly 14,000 members. You can find me at Adrian_Schroker on Twitter. And you can find me in 15 minutes on a Spurs Diehard podcast, right? On our podcast.
If you want to keep on watching, go over to where you're going to be.
Spurs Diehards TTID. EMF is hosting. I'm just co-hosting. Brian Daigle's on. I think Jose's on. Harry Scarf's on. And Tom Zookeeper's on as well. Ellie might pop on. She's an admin, right? So we've got a good crew.
Okay. And where do we find you, mate?
Well, I've been on Adrian's before as well, so you find me on Adrian sometimes. Tottenham away, Hotspur TV, of course. So go subscribe to my channel, and on this channel as well. You find me on this channel and everywhere else.
Here, there, and everywhere, basically. You're a bit like me in that one.
Yeah.
And Alex, yourself?
Mr. Box Office TV, coming back from Jamaica. Yeah, I'm a bit of blues, and that's it. Yeah, but I actually still rattled people still when I was in Jamaica anyway. You know what I mean? Rattled them brains, and that's it. And I'm still going to be rattling brains this season. I tell you this for a fact, and it ain't changing. No one's telling me to not change, and that's it. Because no way I'm changing, and that's it. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I've done this 4 years, 5 years. Yeah, big up to Chris Cowling, let me the first time round. You know what I mean? But then, like I said, I've grown. And I ain't changed since then, and that's it. Back to you, Dan. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know.
Right. The last I'll say about it, Alex, is the way I look on life in that aspect. Yeah, my fun in life is not just being a prick, but being a fucking prick and winding people up with it. That's where I find fun in life. But that's like I say to people, I'm not a prick. I'm a fucking prick, and I fucking love it. Anyway, everyone, thanks for coming on. Have a good night. Go and subscribe to everyone. And same Spurs, different day, nothing has changed. See you later, everyone.
I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.